What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day, another week, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about Blueprints. I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on that game. I played it this past weekend, played it up on stream over on our gaming channel. I'll give you my thoughts on that. We're also going to talk about my thoughts on the second season of Marvel Rivals, the good, the bad, and why I think they should add more characters per season. I said this in the past, and I'll say it again in the current season. And then we're going to talk a lot about Marathon. Marathon showed their thing on Saturday. Lots of people made videos, so we're going to watch a couple videos. We're going to watch an interview from the game director. I'm going to give you why I think the game is not going to do very well in a space of extraction shooters. But at the same time, I'm going to tell you why it could make a niche for itself in the extraction shooter, and because it's Bungie with the goodwill, we'll show you some data why I think these things are going to happen. So if you like what I do here, I do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Let me see what's going on in chat. Let me see who's all here. What's going on, Travis? What's going on, First 48? Eclipse, Water Bear, Jason, good morning. Who else is here? Scrolling. Feels good, man. What's going on? Big Mad Mo. Roic, good morning. Mo, I saw you in, what was that podcast? With Hogue Law. I don't know the name. Bitcast? Is that what it's called? Bitcast? I saw them shout you out over there. Kuda Papa, what's going on? Crowded House. Drummond. Hemi, what's going on? I wasn't watching it live, but I when I watched the past broadcast, I saw them call you. I was like, oh. And I said, did they say Big Bad Mo? Did they say Big Bad Mo? Yeah, you're everywhere. It's all right. All right, so I gotta call out something real fast. First 48. I don't know what you're talking about as far as you were talking about PlayStation gives free games out, and they're the only company that does it, and Xbox doesn't. Isn't PlayStation Plus a monthly subscription to get the free games? I'm asking. Okay. Isn't it a monthly subscription to get PlayStation Plus to get the free games? Isn't that the same thing as Xbox Core, which they also get free games? If I'm not mistaken. Morning, Winter Rose. Xbox used to have games with gold that were free, not anymore though. You understand that gold, you still had to pay to get gold, right? You understand you had to pay for gold to get free games. What's going on, Jay Breezy? The games on PlayStation Plus give you are not PlayStation Plus. You have to have a PlayStation Plus to get the free games. I'm pretty sure. I'm not going to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. It's the same across the board, right? Like Epic gives you free games, right? Epic gives you free games, and you have to sign up for nothing, right? There are free games to play on all systems, like a Battle Royale, type of games like that. But for the games that they give you on PlayStation Plus, you have to pay a small fee every month. Same with Xbox. I'm agreeing with you, 30, but that's not games on PlayStation Plus. What? Once you unsub from PlayStation Plus, I don't understand. They're giving you games not on PlayStation Plus. Okay, so if you don't have PlayStation Plus, they're giving you free games? What's going on, Z? What's going on, Worlds? You have to have an OS Plus or PS Plus in order to play those games at any given time as well. Travis says, yes, it is. Yes, what is? It's literally PlayStation Plus or you get nothing. That's what I'm saying. You are not in the PlayStation Plus catalog. I don't know what these word wizards that you're doing here, but okay. I don't know this word wizard is. No, you're not getting free games maybe on PlayStation 3. All I know is they give you free games a year, like a month, but you have to be on a paid subscription service. That's across the board. So I don't know what you're saying. Second thing that you said was that Concord sold 1 million copies. you notice, the goalpost is completely shattered still from last week. Okay, Concord did not sell 1 million copies. First off, they didn't actually share the number of copies they sold, but there is one thing here that says from Tech Radar, 25,000 copies. While Concord's budget sales numbers remain unconfirmed, a report by Forbes' Paul Tassi suggests that the game had made approximately $1 million. $1 million, selling an abysmal 25,000 copies, with Tassi also stating that the budget estimated around 100 million mark. Okay, so I don't know where you're getting the million copies from. Okay, fact check confirmed. I don't get it. I don't understand where you're getting your stuff from. But man, I see it in chat and I'm just like, holy Christ, it's Monday morning and we're already talking shit. It's amazing. Like, thank God I had my coffee. I was like, what is this saying in chat right now? 1 million copies of Concord. If Concord sold 1 million copies, you would have known. You definitely would have known. JW with the 20 months. Oh, there you go. Sorry, had the crowd noise muted. Thank you very much for the 20 months. Sony said pre-orders for Concord were at 1 million. I'm sorry. Where is that at? They said the pre-orders were 1 million? I can't find anything on that. That's amazing. Roadkill says let's fucking go. It's talking shit Mondays. Yeah, I guess Roadkill. I don't know what's going on right now. We're just making statements left and right. Nothing truthful, just saying shit. I don't get it. Anyway, let's start off with the first topic, which is blueprints, right? Let me bring up some footage of blueprints here from my own channel. Let me bring up, do I have it? Kyle says, you think Marathon will last longer than Concord? Sony is in shambles, raising prices in different regions. Seriously, I think it will last longer than Concord for sure. Just based off of the goodwill of Bungie. 100%, Kylo. We'll get into Marathon a little bit later. Let me bring up. Okay, content live. First look. We'll go on early, so I don't want to ruin anything for anybody. I've been playing quite a bit of Blue Point, and we'll have it playing in the background as I talk about it. Akuta Papa, the $2 super chat says Hugh Jesse Lee person. That's amazing. That's amazing.
Whenever you enter.
That's amazing.
Well, I have a question here. If I enter the chapel.
All right, hold on one second. Here we go. All right. So as I bring up, as we talk about Blueprints. I don't know why I keep saying Blue Point. It's Blueprints. When we first saw the trailer last week, I was like, what in the world is this? The trailer looked absolutely like, as Travis said, coma simulator. Like, I was just like, what does the trailer do? We gave it a shot because it's on Game Pass. Okay, it's on Game Pass, so we tried it out. And I have to say, I really, really like the concept of what it is. It's a roguelike puzzle game, okay? And you have to figure out where Room 46 is. And there's different puzzles, and it goes deep. It's one of these games that you need a pen and paper, or you need some sort of note program to keep track of everything that's going on. There's layers to this game. And yes, it is just going from room to room, figuring out different puzzles. I figured out a puzzle this afternoon. Yesterday afternoon, I was playing this. I didn't stream it yesterday. and it blew my mind. And I'll talk about it if you guys ever watch me play it. Those of you that are watching me play it, when I get to that room again, I'll show you what I found out. I was like, oh my God, which made me rethink the entire game now. And now I'm going into other rooms trying to find other clues. Okay. So there's little bits and pieces that give you clues, and you have to find certain rooms, and you have to find certain rooms in certain levels, and certain levels they give you different bits and pieces, which at the end of the day, you reset, you go back to the next day, you start again, and you start piecing together the puzzle as you're going through. It's actually quite interesting. I totally get it's a niche, and that's the topic for today, like a niche market, right? This is not meant for everybody, right? This is a very good game. It's not a fantastic game. As Mo said earlier in the chat, he says it's a great game, but it's not game of the year. A lot of people, I think this is the second highest game or top highest game, or it's tied with Split Fiction right now in Metacritic or whatnot, as far as the highest score for so far for the year. I think it's a very cool concept. It's interesting spin on a rogue. It's an interesting spin with the puzzles. I know people can solve it a lot faster because when you start piecing together, you can actually kind of figure out certain things based on the room that you're in. But there's a lot of nice little things here. Very, very, I don't want to say a cozy game, but it's a palate cleanser. If you're a person that plays a lot of like one type of game, if you're like playing sports games, you're playing platformers, or you're playing first-person shooters, this is one of those games that you kind of play to cleanse your palate a little bit when you're kind of tired of one thing, and then go back to the game that you were playing. It's something that you could put in, and what I like about it, you could put in as much time as you want in it or as little as time, and you actually progress, if that makes sense, right? So I do like that a lot. I'm liking it. I know it's not a great game to stream, but it is actually a pretty good game to stream, in my opinion, because yes, it's boring for a lot of people, but if you're a person that likes to puzzle solve and you're watching someone play this game, you can play along. You can play along at home, type of thing. You know what I mean? Like if you're a person that doesn't want to buy the game, you can watch someone play the game and kind of like figure out what the puzzles are and play along with them. You know what I mean? So it's very good. It's very good. It's a very good game. Definitely not made for everybody. Like I said, it's a niche. Like we talk about, Marathon's a niche. The extraction shooter is a niche. The Dark Souls is a niche. Dark Souls are very popular. Extraction shooters are very popular. Puzzle games are very popular, but they're very popular within that group of people that like puzzle games, or that like extraction games, or like platforming, you know what I mean? Or Dark Souls type of games. So if you haven't tried it out, or you're thinking about it, you're like, I don't know, right? If you have Game Pass, give it a shot. If you don't have Game Pass, but you like puzzle games and you want to give it, I think it's totally worth the full price. I think it's a $40 game, if I'm not mistaken. Check me on that. Don't quote me on that. I think it's a $40 game, and I think it's worth it. I think you'll have enough time to put into there where you actually get your time out of it. It might be cheaper than $40, but I think it's pretty good. All right, let me see what you guys are saying in chat. So I really like Blue Point. Blue Point. I like it so much I can't even say the fucking name. Blueprints. I don't know why I keep saying Blue Point. I have something in my head that just keeps telling me Blue Point, but it's not Blue Point. It's Blueprints, and it's not blueprints like paper blueprints. It's blueprints. Big Mo says I have the gate open permanently, and I have the gem mine open permanently. I have the same. I'm on day. I want to say I'm like on day 12 or 13 right now. Watching you play the game is a coma of the game. I totally get it, Travis. I mean, no one's forcing you to watch the game. Sarge's Marathon is 25-plus year game that people waited 10 years for because Bungie only did Destiny, and you're doing nothing special. You got a copy pasta genre, massive monetization. Congrats. We'll see. Jay Breezy says, is there a room 69? I don't know. Maybe. It was a joke first. I think it was a joke of 69. Giggity. Feels good says, I don't know why they didn't give you in-game journal with clues you find. I've been taking pictures with my phone. I've been taking screenshots. I think it's easier to play on PC because you can open up a note program and whatnot. I kind of like the the physical take notes. I don't know how old you are. Feels good, man. But when I was younger, I mean, Sarge can talk about this as well. We used to play a lot of games, and we would take notes, right? When we went through dungeons and stuff like that, we would actually map out the dungeon because they didn't have that feature in games back in the day, right? They didn't give you the map. So we would like map out the actual dungeon and whatnot. There was lots of things like this that you had to take notes and you had to take stuff. Yeah, I don't know why, Jones, I have blue points. 30 has oysters on the mind. Yeah, I don't understand why it's in my head. Crowd says, Mike, my squad needs a Slayer for Marathon. You down? No. What's going on, Hemi? I saw reviews and people are saying it's an RNG based when it shouldn't be. That's true. Oh, for the blueprints, there's bits and pieces that are RNG, right? So you don't know what room you're getting. You could base it down to what room you're getting. So there's a 5x9 grid inside the game. Let me see if I can bring up the map. Let me see if I can find a shot of it real fast. Well, I can't find the grid, but what we'll do is I'll show you this. So over here, okay, there's 5 across, five rooms across, 9 up, all the way up to this point. Okay. So let's say like from the entrance hallway, and you click over here to open up this next door. Let's say there's a possible, I don't know the combination, but let's say there's like 6 or 7 rooms that can appear. So when you hit the entrance hall, you're never going to get the chapel, right? You're never going to get the chapel. You're never going to get the billiard room or something. I'm just giving you an example here, okay? You could get the billiard room, but so like when you take this door, like this courtyard can't appear down in level 1, in rank 1, right? So rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, all the way up to 9 as far as the rooms come in. So it is RNG, but you can sort of know, okay, in the first 2 levels, I'm mostly going to get these rooms and try to figure it out. But you don't know which rooms you're getting, so you could get screwed. You could get screwed with a dead end. Maybe it's the closet. Maybe it's the electric room. Maybe it's some, you know what I mean? There's rooms that could screw you over. If you go to the corner section here, okay, you're going to get a corner piece, or you're going to get at least a room majority of the time where it has a turn in it. You could get a dead end, and that would be the RNG. You could roll the dice, basically, and when you're making plans, and you could have a dead end. But majority of the time, you're going to get a turning piece to send you up, right? So that's the way it works, Kylo. Waterbear says, shit, Balatro can get nominated, so can this game. Yeah, no, I think it can get nominated. I think what Mo's saying earlier, he's saying that it's not going to get win because Split Fiction's a better game. What's going on, Mr. Luke? Did you know Marvel Strike Force is getting a roguelike game mod soon? I did not. Oh, okay. So I want you to look. I got pages. I've got pages of notes. Okay, I got pages of notes of everything that I'm doing in the game. Okay, I've got codes that I figured out. I figured it out by. Let me tell you something. Okay, I know it's probably not this complicated, but I'm making it this complicated because. So you know that one room, it's the drawing room. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but there's a bunch of pictures up on the wall, okay? And I have, like, horse, man with umbrella, man with cane, girl running, girl standing, and I have how many times they're on the wall, right? I have the picture frames they're in, the direction that they're facing, and let me just tell you, I figured out a bunch of stuff, okay? But that's me. I'm a crazy man. I like it. Sarge says, piecing a puzzle together, fuck that. Where's the spoiler video that just shows you the answers? I only have time to spend full price on games that cheat myself the gameplay and move on. Yeah, I'm really loving Blueprints. Feels good says some of the puzzles are doing my head in. Don't think too hard, is what I'll say. Yeah, 30 banned me after I blabbed too much on the gem case puzzle. I banned you? Were you underneath a different account, Z? I don't remember banning anybody. I said I was going to ignore the person that came in. We'll talk about Marathon in a little bit. Let's see what else you guys are talking about. Let's see. Sarge says somebody played Mystery Mansion when they were a kid, bro. That game is exactly like Mystery Mansion. Yeah, no, it's exactly like that. Trying to find, and they have different colored rooms and different bonuses, right? So you know what? Okay, so from the outside looking in, you're looking at this game, and you're like, it seems pretty lame. But you want to pick certain rooms to get keys. You want to pick certain rooms to get diamonds or gems. You want to pick certain rooms to find money, right? You're trying to get to certain rooms faster. So then you could hack the computer system so you can go back and collect more money and then go to the commissary to buy stuff to help you get through. And you're doing, the best way to describe this game is like Groundhog's Day. Okay? This is Groundhog's Day, the video game. So every time I go into a day, I'm doing out my day, I'm learning stuff as I go through, and then the day ends, and then I relive the next day over again, going through the same house, going through the same rooms, but now I already know what's in that room. Now I already know what's over here, and I'm piecing together things, and I'm becoming more educated and smarter as I go through the house because I'm learning the ins and outs of the house. That's the best way to describe it. Feels good, man. Says PvE games aren't fun for me. PvE games, so like a Mario game, a God of War game, a Last of Us game, none of that's fun for you. Spider-Man, none of those games are fun. I need real humans. Z says, anyone else see the early access vid for Drive Loop Survivors? Looks fun for a new Rogue Survivor. No, I haven't seen it. What's with the name calling there, Travis? What's the name calling? All right. Let's go to the next thing I want to talk about, which is Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals, I'm playing Season 2. I'm liking Season 2. I like the new map. I like the new events that go on. I like that they're giving out more cosmetics and more things to do inside of Marvel Rivals 2. The one big problem I have with Season 2 of Marvel Rivals, not Marvel Rivals 2, but Marvel Rivals Season 2, is the exact same thing I said before Season 0 launched. Before the game even came out, I said the reason they have to put in more characters per season instead of doing what they're doing is for the one main problem that's happening right now. Let me know if you guys are experiencing what I'm about to explain to you inside if you're playing Marvel Rivals Season 2. Okay? Emma Frost is a brand new character inside the game. There's an event that you need to do, and you have 7 days to do it, and it's have to be Emma Frost. And because you have to be Emma Frost, everyone that's playing the game, a very popular game, mind you, okay, is that, you know what? I don't even know what the, let me see what the Steam chart number is for, if it went up at all. Let's see, Marvel Rivals. Steam charts right now for Marvel Rivals. Okay. Bit of a bump, right? Bit of a bump. It went back up to, yeah, about 315,000. Okay, there's 117,000 right now. 24-hour peak is 241,000. Okay. And it went back up to 315,000 on Friday when it first came out. Okay. So It's a very popular game right now, at least on the Steam chart numbers. And then obviously I'm playing on console. It's very, very popular on the console as well. Okay. The problem with Emma Frost is everyone's trying to be Emma Frost. And if everyone's trying to be Emma Frost and only one person can be Emma Frost during the actual match, then the likelihood of you getting Emma Frost is astronomical. All right. Because now it comes down to your latency of what your ping number is to get back onto the server fast enough. So if you can click over fast enough to get the actual thing. And if you're playing cross-play against other people and they're on PC and you're on console, you're on a controller, they're on a mouse and keyboard, and you're never going to get it, okay? You're never going to get it, okay? So the issue here is that I said in the very beginning, before even Marvel Rivals came out, I said you have to at least put in three heroes a season and drop them all at once. I said I would like to see more, like 4, right? And if there's 4 and hear me out. The Fantastic Four that came out, they dropped 2 and 2. Okay? 4 in the season, but 2 and 2. I think they should do 4, 1 drop at one time. What happens here, okay, is that if Emma Frost came out and let's say Ultron came out and let's say Blade came into the game all at the same time instead of, 6 weeks and then 6 weeks, if they put stuff in the game, right? If they put stuff in the game where you're doing different events and different things, some people would pick Emma Frost, some people would pick Ultron, some people would pick Blade, and now you have at least 6 people per game, right? 3 on each side that can pick the new characters and try to get things. It's to complete the missions or complete the objectives that you're trying to do. But when you have one character, now you have only 2 people per match, 1 on each side, that can pick Emma Frost, okay? So you have other 5 people that are not getting Emma Frost. So at some point, they want to play the new character, but they can't play the new character because it's only one new character. And mathematically, you have to sit there. Now, I know this is put this way, okay? It's put this way so you play more games. Now, I've played about 32 games now. I played 32 games, and every single time I try to pick Emma Frost, and I can never pick Emma Frost. So now I've put in 32 games. Started on Friday. We're on Monday now, okay? So for 3 days, I can't get Emma Frost for the time that I have. So here's the problem, okay? If you're a person that only plays part-time, like myself, I just jump on, do my dailies, try to do as many weeklies as possible, and then I hop off, okay? If I can't get Emma Frost, I'm just not going to do it. If I don't do it, then I can't do the actual weekly objective for that event that's going on because there's too many people trying to play that one character. And this was a fundamental flaw. Or this is done on purpose because they want more people to play the game. And see, if less people can actually pick the character, they think in their minds that more people will just stay in the game to try to pick Emma Frost. But what actually happens, okay, let me show you on this little chart here, okay? In the last 48 hours, how? You can't really see it for the 48 hours. Let's go with the 7 days here, right? So what happens is you have less and less people, right? Look at the dip that happened. 315 to 240 to 246, right? To 241, which that's the weekend. You're going to have less and less people come in because they're going to come in, see if they can pick the character, and if they can't, they back out. They back out of the match, okay? So now it's fundamentally hurting the game per match because people come in, and you'll see this is what happens. You'll see like 4 people all try to pick, but only one person gets Emma Frost, and then all of a sudden everyone else just stands there, and they back out, and then other people kick in, and then you start the match, and people are not in the match, and it's fucking up the rotation, okay? Because everyone's trying to get Emma Frost, okay? This is why I said in the very beginning they need to put in more characters at one stop, okay? Again, this would stop the problem of get the character. Oh, I can't get the character, back out. Oh, I can't finish my objective, right? You're going to get more people leaving than staying to try to play the new character because some people will just be like, I'll just get it later down the road, right? And they don't care. They're destroying their own player base, okay? Because a percentage of these people will just leave. They'll just leave. They'll get done with it. They'll be like, I can't even play the new character, so I'm not going to do it. So that's in competitive, or that's in quick match. But even if you're in the AI, against the AI, which mostly I play, practice against the AI or whatever, okay, I get in just to complete my objectives and get out. I can't even get the character in that. because now there's 6 people going for one new character, and it's that fight. It's the same exact thing that happens. 3 or 4 people pick the character. They sit there. You know they're standing still. No one's changing their character. There's 3 flags on one. One person has Emma Frost. The other 3 people are sitting there, and you just know. You're like, well, these people are going to leave. Okay? And that's what happens. So fundamentally, I think NetEase and Marvel Rivals needs to either fix this in some way, shape, or form where you stop making current events after the new character. This is exactly what happened in Multiverses. Multiverses, you could play the character, but you needed a t-shirt to play a certain character, right? Well, if you didn't have the t-shirt, then you have to go buy the t-shirt, and if you didn't buy the t-shirt, then you would have to play the game to earn the free currency to then get the t-shirt, so you can get stuff, okay? That's almost essentially what's happening right now on Marvel Rivals, right? They're like, oh, Emma Frost is the new character. We want you to do these events with Emma Frost, but there's a traffic jam. There's a traffic jam forming because everyone's trying to get Emma Frost to do the objectives, but you can't. It's impossible. It's physically impossible because not only are you getting the people that want to do the event for Emma Frost, but then you're getting people that just want to use Emma Frost to try Emma Frost, and they don't even care about the objective. Then you get the people that want to main Emma Frost. So they're just trying to work, and they're not even trying to spread the wealth to be like, yeah, go ahead and try Emma Frost. They're like, no, I'm doing Emma Frost because that's what I want to get better at. So there's a massive problem here. So in my opinion, instead of doing the 6 weeks, put in 2 new characters, at least minimum 2 characters at the exact same time. Okay. Now, my thing was before the game even started, before it even launched, I said 4 a season, drop them all at once. 4 seasons would make 16 characters. I said minimum 12, right? So if you put 3 every season, okay, right at the beginning of the season 1, 3 characters, season 2, season 3, season 4, that would give you 12 characters. They've adjusted to the end of the year. They said after the season, we're getting 1 character a month until the end of the year, okay, which is additional 6 characters, and we have 6 characters now. Okay, well, 5 characters now, 6 will be Ultron, and then 6 more afterwards. Take the 3, put them in the beginning of the season, stop this bullshit of stretching it out, do different events to get people to come back, but the character coming back every 6 weeks, to me, is just stupid because you're going to have this traffic jam every single time. Either don't make events around the new character, okay, and wait to have events like that with, I understand they're like, well, if we put an event for Emma Frost, then more people come back to play Emma Frost and they'll try to do this. But more people are going to leave because they can't play the character because there's a traffic jam forming on the actual character itself, okay? Only until after when the next character comes in. See, we didn't have this problem last season or beginning of the last season and the halfway point because there was at least 2 characters, okay? There was at least 2 characters. So you can have the character where it said, oh, do this with Human Torch or do this with Thing, right? And there was 4 people that could do that out of the 12, okay? So you had 4 of the 12 people in the match that could actually do stuff, and there was a better chance of getting the characters. But now there's 1 character. There's 1 character, and everyone's trying to get into that 1 character, and it's causing a problem. I hope they see this. I hope they adjust to this, and I hope they release more characters at the exact same time instead of drip feeding them throughout the thing. I totally get there's times that they have to work with the character and adjust the character to make sure it works, but do that right now. And then when Season 3 comes out, drop 2 or 3 characters all at the beginning of the season. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What is your experience right now with Marvel Rivals, trying to play Emma Frost or trying to complete the stuff inside the actual season? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. First 48 says, never played Rivals. Don't like online games. Only play Arc Online to trade dinos. So you like the PvE aspect of stuff. Jason says, Emma's cool. She has some really good tools. I wouldn't know, Jason. I can't get the player. Can't get the player. Jay Breezy says, I 100% do this. Yeah, where you can't pick the character and then you just back out or stop playing. You're like, oh, I'll play later. Altern says, nah, for me, it works the other way. I will try to play maybe in 2 weeks or 1 month from today. Maybe that's the time I'll be able to try her. Sure, Altern, but there's a thing going on in the game right now to use her to complete so you can get rewards. And a lot of people can't get it completed. And even if you get 1 match in, it's going to take you a really long time to get her again and again and again to get her. Travis says, I have zero interest in playing a game where I get bitched at. I get that enough in real life. I was going to say something, but I'll just keep it to myself. Akuna Papa says 3 to 4 characters at the time allows diversity of choice. Exactly, Akuna Papa. That's exactly what I meant. In the very beginning, before the game came out, I was like, you need 3 to 4 heroes a season. Otherwise, you're going to have this problem. And voila, season 2, we have one character traffic jam forming. It's like 6 lanes merging into one. You ever do that on the highway? You ever try to have 6 lanes merge into one? You know what happens? There's a goddamn traffic jam and you're pissed off. That's what's happening in the game. Rachel says that the people who want to peek at Emma Frost, right, that want to just use her or try to, whatever, they can't do it. They can't do it because they, they can't get the player. There's just too many people trying to play the one new character. Roko says they should just drop a couple of characters that you have to play with so you don't, or using different characters, not just one. Right. So if you're going to, you know what? I'm going to turn on the game. I'm going to turn the game on just so I can show you what the actual, the actual mission is, right? Let me do this real fast. Right? Because this is a problem. It's literally a fundamental problem. They're making the problem because they put the stuff in it, right? They cause the problem, but there is no solution. The solution is just try to keep getting in. Try to keep getting in. Okay. Is it this one? Is this one? Okay. So right in the middle, okay, if you can tell, I already completed the mission 1, mission 2, mission 3, because that's easy. Defeat 60 enemies in quick match, competitive, or practice versus AI. With anybody. Doesn't matter. With anybody. Okay? Then mission 2, view challenge 1 during the event period. Easy. Done. Complete 5 matches in quick play, competitive, or practice match. Easy. Done. Okay? Mission 7, secure 40 assists in quick play. Done. Win 1 match on Krakoa. Great. Done. Right? Now the specific missions, which Emma Frost is deal 10,000 damage as Emma Frost in a quick match. That could take 1, 2, or 3 matches based on your experience in with characters, if you're good or bad, or the RNG type of stuff. Take 20,000 damage as Emma Frost. That could take 2 or 3 matches as well. Okay? Read Emma Frost's lore, which I could do. That's not a big deal. Okay? And then stun 10 enemies with seduction. Okay? I can't get 3 of the 4 of these because I can't get the character. And there's a time limit on this, right? Now, obviously, it says 24 days. But this is artificial stretching out the game, right? Because they know you're not going to be able to get the character. So now, 24 days. So like Altern's said, Altern's going to wait like a week or a month. It's going to be almost near the end of this whole thing. Maybe it comes in 21 days. And then maybe at that time, maybe she's cooled down and then people are done with, most of the people are done. And then you come in to complete it. But this shouldn't be. This shouldn't be like this. This should be real easy to just get in, do the thing. Okay, I'm being punished to try to play the character because I can't get into it because of the popularity and there's only one new character, right? This problem wouldn't happen if you put 3 characters in. First 48 says skill issues annoying. It says that arc when you also do that because of also crap servers. The players will get tired and will go directly to was that PUBG? Is that what you're saying there? Let's see. Jones says this is often a problem in MOBAs. They usually only drop 1 character at a time. Right. Which I think that's a terrible system. It's a terrible system, especially in something like this. If you dropped, see, we didn't have this problem. It wasn't as big of a problem because there was 2 characters the last 2 times they dropped people, 2 and 2. So yes, it was there, but they also didn't conflate the problem here with this because those missions that you had to do, you could use either or, Human Torch or Thing or Mr. Fantastic or Invisible Woman, and it wasn't as hard because some people would do this, some people would do that, and it would filter through faster because more people were playing the character faster. Let's see. Ron Slusher says Concord never had this problem. You know what? That is true, Ron. That is true. It never had that problem. Biggest issue is that PvP is full of cheating. Oh, well, you guys talking about? You're talking about PvP was also Diamond 5 and 6 SWAT player. Also played Battlefield 4 and leveled to where you also got invite to a team. Travis says 30. Yes, we all know what happens when an Asian woman prevents you from getting in and causes a 30-car pileup. Yeah, Mr. Luke says last season they had 2 options, and the thing and Jenny joined. Right, there was 2, and it wasn't a problem. It wasn't a problem because, like I said, it filtered through faster. Ron says there should be a tariff on Emma Frost. It took me 2 matches in ranked. So you're saying it's easier to get into rank to play the character? Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that. What's going on, Nini? Let's see what else you guys are saying. All right. Yeah, so that's my whole thing, right? My whole thing is that they shouldn't have this problem. Or don't make the problem where maybe don't introduce the task right at the beginning, right? Right at the beginning, don't make the task. Make the task maybe a couple weeks in to do it. El Nini says we need that PvE mode. I'm telling you, man, if that PvE mode came in to Marvel Rivals, it'd be very good. And look, I'm going to say this again to Marathon. They need some sort of, if they had a PvE only against the bots instead of PvPvE, I think that game would be much more successful, but we'll get that in a second. We'll get there in a second. Plus free Emma skin if you hit gold 3. See, I'm not a big, I don't care about the rank stuff. I really don't. I'm more of the get on, play the game, have fun, move on. I don't want to sweat. Feels good says, I don't play Rivals, but I'm glad another developer is competing with Overwatch 2. Didn't you say you like PvP games? How come you don't play Rivals? Or do you play Overwatch? Do you play some other game like that? Or you just don't like the hero stuff? Feels good, man. Oh, shit, Roadkill. Is that close by you, or you saw on the news? Mr. Luke says, I don't. Just like free shit. I mean, that's understandable. It's not that sweaty? Oh, really? That low? All right. Well, maybe I'll go in. If I can get on her much faster inside of competitive, maybe that's what I'll do to complete it. Because it'll be done in like 2-3 matches. I know it will be. All right, we got a lot to talk about with Marathon. Okay, we got a lot to talk about with Marathon. I have a lot of videos that we can pull up and play and watch. I'm not here to shit on. Okay, I'm not here to shit on Marathon. Okay, I'm not here to shit on Bungie either. Okay, my content's about when we bring up stuff and talk about stuff, and I give you my thoughts and opinions on things. It's based on like information, like facts, numbers, and why I'm thinking the way I am. Not because I don't like the company or I don't like the extraction. Okay? So this is my way I look at things. Okay? Up front, okay, I'm not a big extraction guy. I've tried extractions, okay? I don't hate extractions. It's just not for me, right? If I was younger, okay, I think I would be more interested in extractions. But where I am now as a gamer, okay, and when I do play games, I don't want to be there because extractions to me don't respect my time, okay? Now, I'm not saying that all extractions are shit because of it, Okay, when I played Division, I used to play the DZ. Okay, but the more people play the DZ and the less people play the casuals come into DZ, you get your ass handed to you because these people, DZs, okay, dark zones, extractions, any type of thing where people gain gear, better gear than you, and then own you more and more, just gets worse and worse as it happens, right? And then what happens is a moat starts to form around the inner circle and the outer circle in extractions, okay? So what happens with a lot of extractions is that, let's say we all start on day one. Let's say no one's ever played an extraction before. We all just start on day one inside the extraction of Marathon, and we all on the same level playing field. Okay, we all get in. What is there, 18 people, I think, inside of Marathon, and everyone goes around, and you happen to find a better gun because there's only a certain amount of guns or whatever, and you find this gun. Now, this one person that found the gun, let's say is Dr. Lupo or Shroud, and they are just dominant, right? They're just dominant already because their skill level is already higher than everybody else's, okay? Obviously, it's all RNG as far as who you're going up against and whatnot, right? But let's just say you're in a lobby with somebody like that caliber type of stuff, and they happen to find the gun. And even if they didn't find the gun, they're going to get that gun from the person that found the gun because they're just better at the game, okay? So there's a huge skill thing. Now, the skill people get the better weapons, and then they keep those better weapons. And for the lower-end people to try to get those weapons, one, they have to kill that person. Then, two, get the gun. Now, once, let's say they extract, okay? Well, the good players are going to keep those guns, and they're going to bring them back in because they're better tier players, and they're going to own people because they're just better skilled players. The lower-tier people, even with the best weapons, they're thinking about it, should I bring this gun in? But I don't want to lose this gun, so they leave it in their stash, right? Why? I don't know, okay? In a game like this, you want to probably bring in the best that you could possibly do, but at the same time, you can lose it, okay? So a lot of people don't like that. Two, a lot of people that play extractions, there's a smaller group of people, and this is the niche community of it, right? I understand extractions are very popular within the crowd of extraction shooters, okay? But there is a very niche community within the giant landscape of gaming itself. Okay, so let me just show you a couple of numbers here, okay? Let me show you a couple of numbers here. So right now, this is the most played extraction. Oh, you can't see it because I have it blocked. This is the most played extraction shooter games on Steam, okay? Now, this is not the one-all be-all. I have the Tarkov numbers here because Tarkov is not on there, okay? But I have Tarkov numbers as well. Okay, so on Steam, right now, we have Delta Force, which is pretty new, but it's also free to play. It's a free-to-play game, okay? Helldivers has been out for 1 year, okay? And Helldivers is a PvE extraction. Delta Force is a Battlefield-esque type of game. It's got an extraction in it. It's got different game modes in it. It's got a single-player story. And this is including all of these numbers. This is not just extraction numbers in here, okay? All-time peak, 131,000. Current is 90,000. Okay, Helldivers is 458,000. Right now, 24-hour peak, 46,000. Right now, it's at 29,000. Hunt Showdown, okay? Straight up extraction, 60,000 all-time peak, 27,000, 24-hour peak, 19,000 right now. Let me refresh this just to make sure this is the current numbers, okay? Yeah, so around the same numbers, okay? Dark and Darker, okay? 57,000, 19,000, 17,000 right now concurrent. Okay, and you can keep going down this list, right? Gray Zone of Warzone, you got 72,000, you got 2,700 people playing, 1,500 people playing right now. Lost Light, 1,300 people. Steel Hunters, okay? And there's games here that are specifically extractions, and then there's things that are mixed in extractions and whatnot, right? So you look at this and go, oh, okay, well, they're popular. They're popular. They have a lot of people playing the extraction shooters, even though there's a mix in here, like Helldivers is an extraction, but it's PvE, no PvP, okay? Then we go to Tarkov, which is like the big game. Let me refresh this, make sure this is the game numbers that we have here, okay? So this is Escape from Tarkov, okay? There's 90,000 people right now playing online. Active players, there's 1.9 million people in the last 30 days, okay? So 2 million people, okay? In the last 30 days, they have a negative 71,000 people, okay? So the number here, though, online right now is 90,000. If you look at this, it's about the same as Delta Force, but Delta Force has got a couple of different game modes in it, okay? Now we have Marathon coming out, Okay? Marathon has to break into this category. This category, okay, has got some of a following. It's a niche community. This is not a dig on it saying, oh, it's a niche community. Like Dark Souls is a niche community. Elden Ring came into the ballpark, and it made it a much broader audience to come into a Dark Souls type of game, okay? It's not the exact same, but it's more broader space. That is what Bungie's trying to do with Marathon. Marathon, in my opinion, is trying to get into this field, but also kind of be the Elden Ring when it comes to breaking into the market to be more of a broader audience, right? Now, obviously, I understand there's numbers and people that play games on the console. They also play it on PC. But that's where I think Marathon's trying to settle in, right? Bungie, in 2014 when they came out, there wasn't games like they were making. There was Warframe. There was sort of games like that. There was Defiance. But when they came in, they made a PvE, PvP type of game, 2 separate game modes, PvE, PvP, okay? And now what they're doing is they're taking it and putting PvP, VE into one. It's an extraction game. It's got the gunplay of Destiny. It's got really the skeleton of Destiny within side Anthem or Marathon. Sorry, I said Anthem. Marathon, okay? And then they have this style of a lot of people, you either like it or you don't. The way Marathon looks, let me bring up a video here. Okay? Let me bring up a video here. You either like it or you don't. Let me bring up... Do we have some gameplay? Yeah, okay. So let me bring up this gameplay here. Right? Very stylistic. Okay? People look at this and like, I don't like it. I don't like it. It looks like shit. And other people are like, I really like it. Here's what I think about it. Okay? I'm not a big fan of what it looks like, but I totally get, right? You're going to talk about it because of the way it looks. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Marathon might not click for you, but this vision, their art style, the way they're choosing to show Marathon is going to stick out amongst everything else that is an extraction shooter, which also kind of looks the same, okay? So what they're doing now is they're coming out and trying to stylistically separate themselves from everybody else, right? Now, obviously, the character models and stuff that are in the game, some people look at it and go, oh, I like that. Other people look like it looks like shit. Well, obviously, it looks like shit. They got to make it look somewhat cool, but not cool enough because they have to sell you microtransactions and stuff down the road. There'll be things that you earn that make your character look better. You have to have a basic character to start with, and then you're going to have to build up to it to make it look better as you play more of the game, right? Remember, you can't see yourself, but other people can see you. So when other people are picking a runner, okay, and they see your character and you're like, oh, damn, and you're a better player than they are, they see what you look like, and they're like, oh, that looks much cooler. How did they do that? And that's a motivator to let you keep playing if you are playing an extraction shooter, right? So they got to make it somewhat cool looking, but not too cool because they want you to have that loop of going in to try to get better things, right? Understand what I'm saying? So a lot of people don't like what it looks like, but other people are like, yeah, it's good. You're going to get a lot of people that just like Destiny. They just like Bungie for Destiny. Maybe they're Bungie fans from Halo. Maybe they're Bungie fans from Marathon back in 1994. Okay? They're coming into this. Now, I don't know why they called it Marathon. They could have called it something completely different, and it would have been just as exciting because now people that were Marathon fans from back in the day, they look at this and go, this is nothing like Marathon. Okay? So they're just taking the name and putting it in to kind of jingle the, nostalgia berries to people. Another thing that's happening in this game is we always talk about minimal viable product, okay? Minimal viable product is where if you had a single-player game, there's a story. There's a bunch of story elements there, cutscenes and whatnot. They've said that there's no story elements like that in it, but there is going to be a story told across the season, and they're going to kind of drop it like they've done a little bit. I guess sort of like what they've done in Destiny in the last, 3 years, 4 years. I haven't really played it in the last 3-4 years, but I hear that that's how they're dropping the stuff, like story-based stuff. Sort of, I guess, I'm going to bring up another one, like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, where they don't tell you a story through cutscenes. They tell you stories through the actual gameplay that you're playing and the audio logs that you pick up or the videos that you see, whatever it is inside the actual game. So that's a turnoff for a lot of people as well. The extraction shooter genre itself is going to be a hard sell because a lot of people, and again, I'm an older gamer, okay? I've been playing games since I was 3 years old. I'm 46 now. I'll be 47 next month, okay? So I've been playing for over 40 years, okay? And I'm just not into these games anymore. Doesn't mean the game's bad in any way, shape, or form, but here's what I'm saying is I want my time respected. The game itself is going to be resetted every season. Okay? Now there's a difference. There's a difference for me. Okay? There's a difference for me where if I'm playing a game like Blueprints, where it's a rogue and I'm resetting every day, but I'm learning something else as going along. And there's a completely separate edition of I'm playing this for 12 weeks, and then at the end of the 12 weeks, I'm getting completely resetted. Okay? Now, I'm not trying to compare this to Destiny as far as in Destiny, I got to keep my stuff. Okay? But you guys know where I stand even in Diablo. I'm like, why can't I just continue my gameplay? Why do I have to reset every season? Okay? I want my time respected. Okay? And maybe I'm alone on this. I don't think I am. Okay? But I don't want to put in 100 hours into a game just so it gets resetted back to 0 so I can put another 100 hours in. And yes, I am learning the map or I'm learning what thing does what. But at the end of the season, I lose all that stuff. So if I'm extracting the coolest gear, okay, and I'm not using it because I don't want to lose it inside the actual match, but now I'm going to lose it regardless, then you might as well use it when you're in the actual mission. You see what I'm saying? So there's a lot of stuff there that I just don't like about the genre. Now, do I think Bungie Marathon could be successful? Is it going to be more successful than Concord? I want to say yes, just off Bungie alone. Just off Bungie alone, I see this game minimum 1 year. Okay? For a couple reasons. One, Bungie. The gunplay in this is much better than what was in Concord. Just facts. Okay? Two, even though there was Bungie developers on Concord as well, it's just different style. You can tell it looks different. Okay? Two, the stylistic of it, of what Marathon looks like, I think a lot of people are going to attach to it just because it's different. Okay? And three, just the goodwill. Because it is Bungie. Okay? Because of Bungie itself, there's diehard fans. It doesn't matter what they put out. They're going to love what Bungie does, and they're going to dip their toes in it. If that's a person that's never played an extraction shooter before. So will the numbers be astronomical? Will it be above Delta Force? Will it be above Tarkov? Will it be possibly? It possibly could be because they're trying to get that market like Elden Ring got with the Dark Souls crowd. Okay? Dark Souls sold like 5 million, 6 million copies. Elden Ring came out, sold 25 million copies, right? Tarkov sells, 5 million, 6 million copies, but maybe this comes out and it sells 8 to 10 million copies, right? Then they would position themselves as the number one extraction shooter in the genre, which is plausible from Bungie. Now, I understand Bungie's on its downside and Destiny's still going on and people are upset what happened over 10 years, but I do believe there's a lot of goodwill still there. There's a lot of people that like the PvP section of Destiny that will give this a shot. They have their core 3 group. Now, we're going to watch some videos talking more about it. I didn't watch all of these videos. I watched bits and pieces of certain ones, okay? So we're going to watch a couple of videos as they tell stuff, and then I'll give you my thoughts and opinion. But before we get to that, these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Do you think Marathon is going to be a flop? Do you think it's going to be the next Concord for Sony, or do you believe that Marathon will be here for at least a year and beyond that because of the gameplay, because of Bungie? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. All right, let me scroll back up here. Let's see, where was I? Altern says, like Delta Force, that has a mix of everything. Right. So if you don't like extractions, you could play the PvP. If you don't like that, you could play the wide open battle stuff. You could play the single player campaign stuff. El Nini says, Escape from Tarkov is a very hardcore extraction. Right. And they're going for extraction, but they're not going for hardcore. There could be hardcore within there, but they're trying to go for a broader basis, which I think they're going for. Okay. First 48 says, Dark Souls games suck. They use the input lag to kill the player. That has no bearing on what Marathon's doing, because that's not going to have that. Dolphin says, I've always forgotten I paid $60 for Tarkov 2 years ago, died, lost everything, and uninstalled. I mean, there's that as well. I mean, this is why Sea of Thieves has a lot of people that play it, but there's a lot of people that want to just play single player or safer seas. There's the people that don't want to play Sea of Thieves because they lose everything. Okay, they've changed that because now as you play Sea of Thieves, you're earning stuff. Even if you lose everything, you're still earning gold. You're still earning achievements. You're still earning stuff as you play. So that was a fundamental fix for Sea of Thieves. Waterbear says trash night. Ray says Marathon is an early Roblox game. Kuda Papa says the first 48 gaming, yeah, but not true. The only game with the lag issue is DS2, and it's also flexible or fixable by disabling something in the menus. Feels Good Man says, I normally wouldn't enjoy this kind of art style, but the way it was presented changed my mind entirely. Were you a big fan of Destiny itself, Feels Good Man? Only he says it looks like a bunch of crash test dummies or crash dummies. Mr. Luke says the art style is cool. Not a fan of it myself. Right, but I think the reason they picked it is to really like stick out amongst everybody else. Is why I think they did it. World says game looks fine, but it's still Bungie. Very true. Very true. Jason says this kind of reminds me of Mirror's Edge's art style, but looks better. Or I'm sorry, but but that looked better. Got it. Lucas says also another thing that lowered my optimism of a little bit is the microtransactions plus Bungie. Oh yeah, that's going to be all over the place. Plus, it's going to be a $40 to $50 game, I would think, from premium. They haven't said the price, but I would assume it's somewhere between that. Especially if games are going up to $80, right? It'll be that midway point of either 40 or 50. Travis says, like Sadat pointed out last night, it's even crappier looking than Concord. At least Concord has bad characters. This is even worse. It's generic. Yeah, but the difference between Concord and Marathon, Travis, is that this could look like shit, but it's got Bungie's name behind it. Concord had what behind it? It was a brand new studio with unproven track record. Saying that there's ex-developers from Bungie making Concord, that studio hasn't proven themselves. There's a lot of goodwill. There's a lot of goodwill between Halo, between Destiny 2. Argus says extraction PvP shooters are going to be even more niche on a console. I don't think that type of game vibes with the average console player. Which one, Argus? Let's see. I don't think, or Force48 says, I don't think it's my Hesant TV good input lag with the game mode. Altern says 47. Damn. What do you mean 47? Damn. Damn, you didn't know I was that old? Quintar says, Marathon has way more of a connection to Halo. Nothing really with Destiny. Come on, Quintar. They literally took the Destiny models and just moved them over. Like copy pasta. Come on. You can't say that you look at that gameplay and don't see Destiny. Let's see. World says not always. They stopped after people got pissed, and they also sunset weapons. There's still a lot of people that no matter what Bungie does, they'll come in. Eclipse says I don't want that they are trying to sell people that they played extraction shooters play it because of the sounds, because of the survival aspect to it, just looks like Apex with extraction mechanics. Right. Apex is a BR. This looks like it looks like Apex, but now with an extraction. PlayStation 5 Blow says 12 weeks. Doubt people will play in 2 weeks. It'll be PvE with bots. You're talking about this game, Marathon? You think it's just going to be just a small group going against the PvE? Altern says just for having the name Bungie, it will sell millions. Absolutely. Minimum 2 million. Mo says I don't know, there's dedicated servers, so I'm thinking new engine. Is it the Unreal Engine? Are they using Unreal Engine, or is it using the same engine they have and just updated the engine to be a new engine? I don't know. I'm asking. Mo says hit that like button. I like what Mo's thinking. Hit that like button. Thank you, Mo. Thank you. Come on, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get to 30. Can we get to 30 likes? There's 38 people. I think we get to 30 likes. I never asked for likes. Let's see here. Altern says, Marathon, a Concord story. Dustin says, it's my cozy game. Kylo says, I think it'll flop. Plus, it launches on the same day as Borderlands 4. Oh, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. When you say, do you think it'll flop? When you think it'll flop, do you think it flops like Concord flops, or you think it flops like overall they want to sell like 7 million and it'll only sell like 5 million? See, I think they know their core audience, and their core audience spends a lot of microtransactions, and I think they can get those people to come and play this. They'll make the substance or the subsidy of subsidizing the people that are not playing for the people that are there. 20% makes 80%. They'll make money off the people that just like playing the game and give them the money like that. Feels Good Man says, do people still care about Borderlands? I swear it died after the third game. I think people are a little optimistic of the new Borderlands game. They're a little hesitant on it, right? I have to say, we're playing Borderlands 3 right now, and I actually love it. I love the gameplay, and I love the different quality of life that they've done. I'm having a blast playing it. I really don't give a shit about the story. The 5 years ago when it came out, I boycotted it because of what the company did to certain people, and I didn't play the game. But playing Borderlands, sure. Is it as popular as it was in Borderlands 2? No. But what's got more cred? Borderlands series or Marathon series? Yes, there's Bungie behind this, but I think Borderlands is going to be a little bit more popular than an extraction shooter. But that's just me. Mo says Eternal Strands just got a free DLC. Great. Did they fix the combat in that game? Did they fix the combat in that game, Mo? I know I think they did fix the combat from the skating. They said they were gonna fix it. I don't know if they fixed it though. Let's see here. Quintar says, meaning the storyline. Oh, I gotcha. Travis says 30. In reality, Bungie less than WB. I don't know about that. Travis. Kylo says, like a X-Defiant situation. Well, the problem with X-Defiant is that they had shitty-ass servers. Their netcode was shit. And they knew that going into it, and they still released it. Here's the thing, right? Let's talk about this. If this comes out and underperforms, Sony's in massive trouble. Because not only did X-Defiant wasn't theirs, it was Ubisoft's, but Concord failed. They canceled the Last of Us, whatever they were doing, okay, with the PvP type of thing, okay? Like, it's just one after another that they just cancel. And if this fails, Sony's got to be like, what do we do now? I think they have to keep this out there. Mo says, never underestimate the power of Bungie. Name my brother sent me a video on Marathon. All he played was Destiny. He's interested in Marathon name alone. Let me tell you something. I saw the 8-minute long, like, in-game movie trailer. I would like that as a series. I'm interested in what the world is, but I'm not interested in playing the game to meal piece the story together. You give me the story like a movie, I'll sit there and watch it for 2.5 hours. Travis says 30. Are you doing more Borderlands 3 on Wednesday? Yeah, we're going to be playing Borderlands 3 on Wednesday. Robert Jones says X-Defiant is available for another 2 months. It's already dead. Let's be honest, Jones. It's already dead. It's already dead. Feels Good says, I almost prefer people pay for Marathon than it being on Game Pass. There's also be less trolls. I don't think the trolls, just because it's $40, look, people that want to cheat, the people that are cheating feels good. They buy a little box that costs over $100 so they could cheat on console. Do you think $40 is going to stop someone from cheating in a video game? El Nini says, man, no, where is it? I think it's going to be another Helldivers 2 surprise hit. The problem with this compared to Helldivers is solely based on PvE, right? And would it be a surprise hit if Bungie has a hit? It's Bungie. Everything Bungie has been a hit. It's not like it's a small independent company. It would be a surprise if it bombed. I don't think it would be a surprise if it was a hit. All right. I want to watch. Let's watch Azzacross. Because he basically tells everything as is, right? So let's bring this up. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just cover stories, have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Mr. Luke says, I can't believe I've played almost the same amount of hours in Rivals than EA FC, and that came out in September last year. Yeah, I don't know what my time is. I'm level 44 now. I think I'm approaching like 60, 70 hours or something like that. Maybe even more, if I'm not mistaken. It's got to be more than that. All right, let's watch this. Link in the description down below for his video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's watch this and see what he says.
You've heard about Bungie's newest game marathon. You probably don't want to watch a 2-hour Vidoc or 20 different YouTube videos to figure out if you love it, if you hate it, or you just don't care. To be quite honest with you, I'm still wrapping my head around yesterday's reveal. But today's video is a collection of everything we have learned about.
And I like that. Thank you, Azzacross, for doing that, because I was like, I didn't watch it live on Saturday because I didn't care. And then I started watching a video, and I was like, I don't want to watch this one, and then watch another one, and then watch another one. So I just waited. I watched bits and pieces a little bit here and there. I was just like, I'm gonna wait, and here he is. He made it yesterday, so.
A marathon. This comes from articles, cinematics, creators, developer interviews, tweets, anything that we could find, we put it in today's video. This also includes our own interview that we did with Andrew Witz, who is the gameplay director for Marathon. So there's quite a bit to go through, but we're really trying hard to filter down everything to just the most important information you need to know about this game. So without further ado, what even is it? Marathon is a...
And mind you, just because I'm not interested in an extraction shooter, and just because I'm not interested in Bungie, like the company itself, I'm a content creator, and I like showing stuff like this because you guys do like stuff like this, right? So I'm not going to try to push my bias of the company and extraction shooters that this game's going to suck and it's going to whatever. That's not how I roll, okay? I'm showing this because it could be one of you that's watching me right now that's interested in this game and wants to know more of it. So I want to know more of it so I can talk more about it, right? I'm not a person that's just going to be like, shit, it's going to suck, right?
First-person extraction shooter with a very unique art style that is focused on fast-paced matches, survival, and team gameplay. Now,
okay, hold on a second.
Art style that is focused on
first-person extraction shooter, fast-paced gameplay,
fast-paced matches, survival, and team gameplay. Now, you're a runner. You're sponsored by numerous factions to raid the abandoned space colony of Tau Ceti 4, which is under the protection of the...
Sponsored by factions. Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of piece from Destiny, right? Like if there was factions in that game, if they were like sponsoring you. All right, that seems pretty cool. Okay, protected by United Earth Space Council. Okay.
UESC, that being the United Earth Space Council. Now, all teams load in at slightly random spawn points at the beginning of an instance, and you have 25 minutes to scavenge loot, complete objectives, fight against powerful AI.
I have a question. Can you, what, like the game Jump Ship, I think it was called? Was it called Jump Ship, where you could work with a team? And then at the end, you can get the gold, and you could kill your team members and take it all for yourself. Is there a mechanic like that in this game, or is there no team death?
combatants, and of course enemy teams before time runs out and you die. Now they mentioned that 18 at least for the Dire Marsh map is the maximum number of players per match, but of course this is dependent on the map, with the teams being divided up into threes. Now one thing.
Okay, hold on. 18 players on a Dire Marsh. So, okay, so you can't go in solo, right? It has to be a team. You could go in solo, but it's going to put you in with a random 2 members. So there's always 3 people per team.
But of course, this is dependent on the map, with the teams being divided up into threes. Now, one thing they did emphasize is that there is no solo lobby.
No solo lobbies, okay.
Meaning you can queue as a solo player with either 2 random teammates or with no fill as an option. You're not going to be in a situation where there are 18.
Wait a minute. If there's no fill, then you can go in by yourself. So you could have 18 solos potentially, right? So you can't there's no solo matchmaking where it's all solo players. But potentially, you could go in 18 people with no fill, and that could be all solo.
18 separate teams of solos, although they are looking into possibly adding that if that's something the community really wants.
I think that's a fundamental flaw if you're forcing people to... Now, I totally get it. I totally get it. They want people to work together. But I think that's a fundamental flaw for people that don't have friends or solo, and you're forcing them to talk to somebody. I think that's a fundamental flaw. I think a lot of people, if they want to team up, will do it by themselves and then join a game chat. Not a game chat, a private chat. But I think there should be an option that you can go in and play a solo mission. Let's be honest. I think Worlds, did you say it up earlier? I think you said it earlier. Where, was it Worlds? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. I think in a couple of months when the game comes out in September, that there's going to be a dip. And just like Fortnite, right? In Fortnite, you could go in with 4s and 3s and 2s and 1s, but they also fill it with NPCs. So yes, you're going PvE, but I think there's going to be more PvE than PvE. You see what I'm saying? Because they're going to fill it in with bots, but not tell you there's bots, but you're not going to know.
There's also no duos. As I said, it's bad for balance. Now, in terms of gameplay, there's been like different terminologies thrown out. Is Marathon a hero shooter? Dude, this is where things just get kind of blurry. Essentially, though, there are 4 runner classes that you can...
Okay, so there's classes, right? So there's classes like there are in Apex Legends. 4, they'll add more down the road probably. Maybe they'll even introduce 6, like 2 more, maybe 6 by the time. I think it is kind of weird that there's 4 and there's a 3-man team, right? So I wonder if they add 2 more. I wonder if they add 2 more before launch.
Play in the closed alpha, and there will be 6 available at launch. To be quite honest, guys, you could call them whatever you want to call them. You call them heroes, archetype, classes. I think when people think of hero shooter, they think...
Yeah, this is not an Overwatch. This is not an Overwatch or Marvel Rivals. This is heroes like Battlefield was. Battlefield had the hero classes in there, or like an Apex. That's what this is.
Overwatch or Marvel Rivals, and this is obviously not that. Now, it was mentioned from a lot of the creators and the folks that got to play the game that all the runners feel pretty similar, but each have 4 abilities that the...
Search and Destroy, Riot Barricade, Thruster, and Tactical Sprint. Okay.
Find its unique playstyle, that being 2 passive traits, 1 tactical...
Oh, this is... Okay.
...ability, and 1 ultimate. And
this is one of the characters, okay.
Short, Glitch is super agile, Void goes invisible, Blackbird uses wall hacks, and Locust has a big shield. My Destiny players, it's literally 3 hunters, 1 Titan. That's your 4 classes for the alpha. Now, this takes us to our UI. The compass up top tracks your direction and your current point of interest. The top left shows the match timer and the kill feed, and the top right displays your current faction contract. More on that later. Now, underneath your reticle is your heat bar, which is essentially stamina. Now, dropping bottom center are both your abilities. To the right and left are your consumables, and in the far corners, the right side displays your current weapons, and the left, your...
I'll be honest, the proximity chat, what happens with proximity chat is, we've talked about this in the past, people just shoving their face like Doritos or yelling at their parents in the background or yelling at their wife or the wife's yelling at the husband or the dog's barking in the background. And most people just mute people. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest thing. We live in an age of online connectivity, but nobody wants to speak or talk.
your shield and health with the status of your teammates hovering just above. Now, weapons in Marathon sport that same aesthetic that you pretty much see everywhere else. Everything looks very modular. That's intentionally so, and I will say, guys, at least gauging y'all's comments yesterday during the live stream, some people really liked it, and some people thought it looked terrible. Yes, I saw the comments.
Look, I don't think it's hideous. I think it's better than Concord, not very much, but at the same time, I know exactly why. I said this earlier. I know exactly why they look the way they look, because they want you to buy microtransactions. They want you to either play the game and earn cooler cosmetics, but not too cool cosmetics, or sell you better cosmetics.
Look like Destiny and Roblox had a baby. I get it, man. At the same time, Destiny players love the aesthetic of a Rite of our 9 weapons that just leaked early. And dude, that's some straight up Roblox stuff. But I completely understand why some people do love this style. At the same time, some people is put off by it. Now, all the weapons share the exact same stats.
Again, I think the reason they picked it is so it sticks out. What do you do to differentiate yourself from other games that are the exact same? They're in competition with each other, right? Like think about this, right? Let's talk about the YouTube channel, okay? People that have morning shows and talks like this do pretty much the same layout, right? And if we all have the same layout, then you got to do something different to differentiate yourself from it. If it's putting sound bites in, if it's putting songs in, you have to have your own style to the thing. That's what they're doing here, right? They're taking this style, if you like it or not, it's something that sticks out in your brain, right? Minecraft, a lot of people don't like Minecraft or Roblox, but when you say Roblox, you can picture what Roblox looks like. You could picture what Minecraft looks like. When you say Marathon, you're like, oh, is that game? Like, it automatically, it's only 2 days old, sticks inside your head.
System. Shotguns are short range. Snipers are long range. The effective range is clearly visible in meters.
Nate Dizzle says, I'll play it if it's PvE mode. There is no PvE mode. It's only PvPvE mode.
And the same is true for reload speed and so on. Now, you can modify your weapons in this game. Each weapon has 4 slots for a sight, barrel, magazine, and mod, but it was mentioned that none of the mods would alter.
All right, hold on a second. I'm gonna back up here for a second. I missed it.
Shotguns are short range. Snipers are long.
Okay. The loot system. Okay. In this game, this is why I don't like extractions. I've said it in the beginning. I'm gonna say it again, just in case you missed it from the beginning. The reason I don't like a extraction shooter is because it doesn't respect my time. Now, if you're a person that's younger, never played games like this, and you're like, oh, this is so cool. I totally get it. Totally get it. I'm not shitting on you for liking a game or disliking the game. The reason I, myself, don't like games like this is I don't even like games where you level up every 5 seconds and you lose the gear. Like you find a good piece of gear, but then 3 seconds later you're leveling up and then this gear is obsolete type of thing. In this game, it's that you want your loot. You want to use the best loot to give you the best chance to get out. But then once you get out, you don't want to bring that loot back in because you don't want to lose that loot. Right? And then at the end of the whole season, you lose everything. So everything I grab, the coolest gun, the greatest grenade, the coolest bits and pieces, I lose it all at the end of the season.
Long range, the effective range is clearly visible in meters, and the same is true for reload speed and so on. Now, you can modify your weapons in this game. Each weapon has 4 slots for a sight, barrel, magazine, and mod.
I'm going to say also the look of it is not complete yet, right? They still have time to beautify it.
But it was mentioned that none of the mods would alter damage output directly. But depending on its rarity, modifications can be small, making simple stat adjustments, or large, which can drastically alter weapon behavior. Lupo spoke of an attachment that allowed his railgun to shoot 2 shots instead of 1. Now, as you add more modifications to a weapon, the weapon's rarity and value will increase as well. Now, the levels of rarity in order are gray, green, blue.
Look, I totally get it. Like if you're a Shroud or a Lupo, and the reason I bring this up because we know who they are. It's just an example, okay? They like the game because the game itself is them learning the game and becoming better, and they have it's just like if you were in regular war or battle, right? Home field advantage. You know the terrain, you know the stuff. The more you're out there, you know what's happening, right? Your neighborhood, if without war, just going outside, if you walk your neighborhood and know the ins and outs, where to go, what it is, you're more educated and you know more than the person that just moved in and they have no idea where to go, right? The more you do it, the better it is. That's part of the game, right? Just like blueprints we were talking about. The more you play it, the more you know about the rooms, the more stuff it is.
Blue, purple, and then gold. Now, once a mod is applied to a weapon, get this, it cannot be removed. Now, they stated this may change in the future, but as of right now, you cannot unsqueeze the toothpaste, so to speak.
Wait a minute. What did he say there?
Well, now the levels of rarity in order are gray, green, blue, purple, and then gold. Now, once a mod is applied to a weapon, get this, it cannot be removed.
Mods cannot be removed. Okay. There's no breakdown at all? So now, well then, here's a strategy that I just thought of. Let's say you have a piece of gear. You can't unmod it, but if you find a good gun but you don't want to use it, you could put a shitty mod on it and then have someone else take it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's a strategy or not, but that would be interesting. Like you on purpose make a gun shitty with a bad mod on it because they can't unremove it.
Now, they stated this may change in the future, but as of right now, you cannot unsqueeze the toothpaste, so to speak. And gold mods are by far the most valuable. From Kevin Giannis.
Crowded says, Mike, supposedly they have mechanics in place that smooth out the things that you hate about extraction shooters. What would that be? The whole thing about an extraction shooter is it's PvP. I don't want to play PvP. The only thing they have to do, House, to get me to play this game is to play PvE only. That's it. That's the only barrier for me personally. I don't want to go in a place and do PvP. I want to go in and methodically, in the 25 minutes that I got to play the game, ins and outs and learning the stuff. I do this with my son in Fortnite. Okay, I don't want to play the regular battle royale, right? But my son, he likes to mess around, and I don't want to go up against people because I don't care about the wins. Okay, so I just go in my private little server. And we do the boss fights, and we go around, and I learn the map and get the points and whatnot, right? I have no interest in playing and losing my shit to somebody else. I don't.
The runner team lead at Marathon, his quotes, everything that is gold has a unique behavior. Examples include a magnum with a sniper scope, a triple jump for glitch, a backpack that makes you invisible. These are going to be extremely desirable and game changing. Now, in terms of other modifications and gear, as you probably already guessed, your runner can also be modified. The same rules.
That would be a cool game right there. Right? That would be a cool game right there. Top down, like a gauntlet type of thing.
Apply. Green is garbage, gold is great. You can outfit your runner with up to 2 cores that passively augment your abilities, or 3 implants that upgrade stats, and at the highest tiers, introduce more unique behaviors. Now, the gear you'll find throughout the world includes consumables that will either grant buffs or cleanse debuffs, as well as grenades, ammo, shields, and backpacks. Now, this takes us to factions. Bungie's simplest method.
I wonder, and again, I don't know, in the extraction, and does anybody here play extractions a lot? Because I have a question for people that play extractions. Is it a roll the dice? So let's say I drop in or I get put in and there's a hangar. And in this hangar, there's a box or a crate that you open up, or maybe the hangar itself has certain things in it. Is it random every single time? Okay? Or is it like, is there a chance for the shotgun to appear there? Or is there a chance that the buff is there? Like, that's the only place it appears. Or is it a random roll every single time? Crowd says you can buy your shit back by playing the game a lot, completing missions, and upgrades your faction. Okay. Roll the dice. So all the loot gets mixed up all the time, so it's not the same spot. So if I found a good shotgun in the hangar, if I go back to the hangar, it's not going to be there all the time or a percentage of the time. It's just random. Okay.
Method to accomplish semi-permanent character progression is through their faction system. Now, there are 6 total factions that you can interact with in the interface, where you can go to each one and pick up contracts to complete. Now, when you complete contracts, it grants faction reputation, unlocking.
So the contracts is like Fortnite, where you drop in, and yes, you're doing the battle royale aspect of it, but you have to go kill this boss, or you got to go find this thing, or you got to go kill this guy, right? Like, whatever it is. So they're keeping you Okay, so they're doing the exact same thing as Fortnite does in the Battle Royale, but in Extraction. And I think Warzone does that, and I believe Showdown Hunt does that. Hunt Showdown does it as well.
Skill progression trees that are unique to that faction. Now, these skills, once unlocked, persist between matches and cannot be lost by failing an exfil, that being an
I wonder if there's tons and tons of these things to do, or it's like once you do one, it's like the same thing, sort of like what we used to do in Destiny. You get the missions, the dailies, the weeklies, and you'd be like, oh, it's that strike. I gotta go do that strike. Oh, I gotta do this cave over here. Right? Is it like 50 things, and then once you play, I don't know, 20 hours, you've done them all, and then it's just rinse and repeat, or they're gonna keep adding kind of new ones inside there.
Extraction. Now, in the alpha build, these upgrades should benefit consistent players the most, since it seems contracts currently refresh daily. But get this, you can only hold one at a time, which for a Destiny player, that sucks. Like,
Right, House. That's what I was thinking. Right, so like if the hangar, there's a better percentage for the shotgun to show up there than anywhere else.
imagine only being
And you wouldn't know that until playing a bunch of times, knowing.
able to do one bounty at a time. We love overlapping things, and I'm really not sure why they are only making it to where you can only do one at a time. At least make it like.
Here's the thing, I see a problem, right? If I have a mission, I'm part of a faction, you're part of a different faction, and the third buy is on a completely different faction. Now you're playing together, right? Now you have the exact same problem you had in Destiny when you're doing strikes, or if you're doing just dungeons or whatnot, right? You're all playing the game together, but you're all playing a separate game, right? Because you have your personal mission that you have to go across the map to go do. Now, you could ask your friends to go with you to help you to do that, and then you go to theirs and so on and so forth. Or you just kind of rogue agent type of thing where you go do your own thing, they go do their own thing. So you're in the game together because you're forced to be together, but you're separate because you're trying to get your missions accomplished. I see that as a problem.
Like 5 or 6 or something. That way we can get one for each faction. Now, factions can sponsor your loadouts if you end up losing all of your gear in a bad exfil. Essentially, just like starter stuff, just in case, you get shredded and you lose everything you own. Now, you can also purchase gear off the black market. Now, contrary to popular belief, this is not a player trading system. This vendor is operated by the game and will steadily increase the value of offerings available to purchase as you rank up throughout the season. So if one of your
They do this in Fortnite as well.
friends is completely broke and you're feeling generous, you can even donate some of your gear for them to test drive, but it will be returned after your next run is completed. But get this, your gear degrades when it changes hands.
The gear degrades when changing hands. So if I have a purple, when I give it to you, it's a blue? Is that the way I understand that? Just by exchanging hands, it's going to be degraded?
And I'm not really sure if this applies to donating your gear for your teammates to test drive, but this was a complaint brought up by a lot of other creators that played. As I said, they would kill someone who has gear with some gold mods on it, and then when they go to pick it up, because it's like on the final 10%, it would fully degrade and break down. Now, no lying, guys.
That's weird. I don't know if that's a good mechanic. Like, what's the point of that? Right? If I kill somebody, right? If it's PvP and I kill you, and now I pick up your gear, but now it degrades when I pick it up, why?
Guys, that's an interesting system. Scarab talked about this in more depth in his podcast yesterday. I don't know how I feel about it. It doesn't sound like the gear degrades over time or with usage, but instead degrades simply for changing hands. And I'm trying to understand like the purpose of this. Like maybe you're in a situation where you're like, yo, I've got my best tier loot, but it's at 10%. I might as well risk it because yes, if I die, I lose it, but at the same time, no one else can get it. Maybe there's some.
Yeah, but how would microtransactions do that, Travis? Cosmetics would be just, or microtransactions would just be cosmetic. It wouldn't be anything else than that. They better not put a microtransaction to give you an advantage over anything. That would kill the game instantaneously. All their microtransactions would be cosmetic and cosmetic only. You would hope. There's no way I see them doing it where they give you an advantage in a PvP game like that.
Some value in that. If I have any extraction shooter players in here, perhaps you can let me know. However, I do believe it was also mentioned.
Arga says even if you go in solo with no fill, you're still technically on a 3-man team. You'll be alone, but everyone else is also didn't do no fill. It'll still be a 3-man team, so there is no easy going in a lone 2. Gotcha.
That when an item does break, it drops money instead. Question is what is considered fair value? Is that tied to the black market? I don't know. It's an interesting thing though. Now this takes us to the rest of the loot in the game. Some POIs contain more types of loot than others. Now you cannot protect any of the loot. Andrew brought this up yesterday. There's no lock.
Oh, you're thinking, Sarge, you're thinking 100% there'll be a buff that stops degradation. So you're saying you think the microtransaction will be sold something where it stops the degradation of the actual thing when you pick it up. Interesting.
Box, no secure box. When you die and you lose everything. But he did emphasize that team play is the most important factor here. It was mentioned in our interview that if one of your teammates escapes with the loot that you guys are trying to get out with, it will be shared upon successfully extracting. Now, we didn't really get into this.
I don't think you're thinking of the same respect of time, Eclipse. When I'm saying it doesn't respect your time, is at the end of the season, it's deleting everything. Right? So if I go in and play 1,000 matches, at the end of the season, I lose everything. Right? So all the matches I did, all the stuff I did, sure, I might be getting some cosmetics or whatever. But if you have no interest in the cosmetics and I lose the gun that I got on match 75 and the 10th week of the 11th week, and then all of a sudden 1 week later I lose that is not respecting my time.
The specifics of like what loot is shared, but it almost seems like anything in that hole. As long as one of you on the squad escapes, yes, you might have just died with all of your stuff, but at least you get something, which is great if you have somebody on your team that maybe it's not that good, but perhaps they're a great distraction. Sacrificing themselves might be worth it. And given your friend who is the one that always gets out alive, that's probably the person that needs to be holding the loot. However, all loot will be subject to seasonal wipes. Everything will be
loot loss on seasonal wipes. That right there, all time just goes out the window there for me. If you're a person that's brand new and stuff, or you like this type of stuff, cool. But as a player, that if they're trying to bring me in, that loses me right there, right? I didn't like when they sunsetted stuff in Destiny and then brought it back, right? I do not like this at all. But I guess this makes it where if weapons are OP this season, that they change it next season.
removed. Now, cosmetics will carry over, of course, especially cosmetics that are tied to account milestones, and they can carry over between seasons. But just like in Tarkov, you will have seasonal wipes present in Marathon. Now,
Dolphin says that's the game, though, 30. Going in and hoarding guns in your vault so you can afford to lose them. The problem that when I played the small extraction game years ago that I played, okay, is that when you play the game and you bring the stuff out, right? Like I played Vulgar, right? Is that what it was called? Vulgar? Vulgar? Is that what it was called? And then I played a little bit of Hunt Showdown, okay? And I played other DZ type of extraction type of stuff. You want to bring your good stuff in, but you also don't want to lose your stuff. So you keep it in your vault to only bring it in when you feel like you that's what you're going to do, okay? But you're getting gear, so if you lose it, then you lose your best gear. Then you have to start from scratch again. To me, that's not respecting my time, right? That's a high risk, high reward type of thing. And if I'm a casual gamer, right? If I'm a casual gamer, Dolphin, I only have, I don't know, 2 hours a week to play, and matches are 25 minutes, and I go 24 minutes into that match, and all of a sudden I find the thing, I extract, okay? Then the very next match I go in, and 3 minutes in I die. I'm done. I'll be like, well, that sucks.
Now, each new season will usher in shifts in the sandbox alongside other updates to gameplay. And they mentioned story points. Not really sure how story is going to be delivered here, but there is.
Right, but that's another problem, right? The more you play, right? The issue is if you never extract good shit, you'll never get ahead. That's not fun. Well, even if you extract the shit, right? Even if you extract the shit, and then I lose it right away afterwards, it's gone anyway. So I could have taken 24 minutes to search the whole entire map. I finally find something that's good, okay? I extract it the first time. Now I have the gun. Well, I want to use the gun, right? So now I use the gun. I'm inside the actual game. I go in and all of a sudden I come across and I get killed because now I'm going up against a much better player than me, just skill gap, okay? So now a person's in the game, even if they have a shittier weapon than me, but they're a better gamer than me, they kill me, take my shit, right? There's no difference of this and going to Sea of Thieves, undigging all the treasure, putting the treasure on your boat, and then trying to extract to get back to base, and I lose all my shit, right? That's where people are like, no, I'm good. I'm good, right? If there's some sort of system, and maybe there is, maybe I haven't got to that point yet. If there's some sort of system in there where it's a battle pass or something, and I unlock something where my starting weapon is somewhat better than the mediocre weapon I started with, but in the season pass, let's say I get to level 25, and all of a sudden my starting weapon's a blue weapon all the time, cool. Do you know what I mean? Some sort of progression. I don't know what they're doing, but
going to be seasonal storytelling, which takes us to the lore. If you're a fan of the original games, you know that Marathon is very lore rich. Dude, that cinematic trailer that dropped, hot damn. That was probably the highlight of yesterday's stream. However, I was extremely surprised when watching Skillup's review that Marathon's seasonal narrative is not written yet. Supposedly, the story framework.
See, now the seasonal narrative, this is the same thing that happened with like Concord or even Destiny, right? It's slowly telling the story through in-game stuff. The people that were playing Destiny that liked the PvE, I don't know if this is going to be a selling point for them. I'm not saying it sucks. I'm just saying that I don't know if this is a selling point for those people that think, oh, I'll try Extraction. Maybe the story will be good. But it's like meal piecing the story together. I don't know. That's a tough decision as well.
Is in place, but the narrative team still has much more to build, which is concerning.
Right, Quintar. Remember the wiggle. Remember the wiggle. Okay, this is before people cheat.
You don't want to start this a mere 4 months away, 5 months away from launch. And I know I got some PvP players that are like, Cross, I don't care about story. I just want to click heads and get loot. But you got to understand, guys, there is.
Crowded says, Mike, there is exactly that. It's called upgrading your faction for faction packages. Okay, so that means, so I put in 20 hours, and at the 20-hour mark, I got to a certain level of the factions, and because I got to the certain faction, my starting weapon is now a green instead of a white.
Is a deep fan base for this game, and they do care. They care a lot. Now, this takes us to PvE. The AI enemies in this game are no joke. I talked about this in my own review. Not much has really changed from the pre-alpha game build that I played to what was shown by many other streamers who played the alpha just last week. AI enemies in this game have to be respected. UESC combatants, exploding alien ticks, those are going to be present in the alpha, and they must be engaged with or they will wreck you. And when I say wreck you, they will team wipe you. Certain enemies can go invisible. Some of them can clone themselves, and some can just suck the life out of you. I will say my time with Marathon, that was the thing that caught me off guard the most. I was expecting to just run in there, one tap a few AI, grab my items, and mainly just be concerned with other enemy players. But engagements never went like
AI combatants are extremely threatening. See, I like that. I like that. When we played the DZ a little bit in Call of Duty last year, no, we didn't play this year, we played last year's version, I kind of liked it, but it didn't hook me. It didn't hook me.
that. Matter of fact, if you had a team in front of you, but then you had an AI team next to you, be very careful engaging the enemy team in front of you, because that AI team may wipe the both of you. And I know there's a balance here that Bungie's trying to find, and even the build that I played, Bungie had stated that they nerfed enemy AI, so what I thought was hard was actually easier than what other people have been playing up against. But it is interesting that Bungie has made enemy AI in this game so challenging. Now, on the topic of proximity chat, as of this moment, Marathon does not have it. In an interview with game director Joe Ziegler, he states the Marathon team is not against adding proximity chats, but they want to create a safe environment for players.
You know, I understand what the factions are going to have. We actually talked about this house back in Destiny days, right? When me and Sarge first made GXG, right? We talked about how different guns could do different things, and it would be cool if you could have faction wars inside of Destiny, where I could go up. They sort of did this in Destiny 1, where you could earn certain faction gear from the factions, you know what I'm saying? Like, we talked about that type of stuff, and now they've actually added it to this, which is pretty cool.
Before they implement it in game. Now, as you can imagine, there are many players that are upset about this feature not being already implemented, as proxy chat is already a staple in other extracted shooters like Escape from Tarkov, So I can completely understand why people are let down by this. And look, I wish people could behave when it comes to voice chat, but it's just impossible, man. At the same time, some of my most memorable moments are post-Warzone games when we're literally getting pulled out. And dude, the things that are said within that 20 to 30 second time frame. Oh my God. I'm talking about the most profane things I've ever heard in my life. But at the same time, it also makes some of
The solution to toxic behavior of people saying shit on a microphone, it's as simple as this. You mute. You mute. It's like a remote control for a television set, right? Like everyone wants to like change the channel by like waving their hand or saying like change channel, robot change channel, hear my voice, change channel. But the easiest thing ever is just using your thumb to type in the button, right? If you don't like people talking shit to you, okay, in any game, okay, is that you literally just mute them. In real life, when someone's saying shit you don't want to do or hear, you do this. Ready? Watch. It's simple. You just walk away. You just walk away, okay? It's even simpler online. You just, done. Muted, done.
the most memorable moments. Where would I be without ooh woo, I'm coming?
Ooh, I'm coming!
Look, when we played Starship Troopers, which is a PvE game, by the way, the amount of shit talking that was and people being so stupid when we were playing the game was phenomenal. Was great.
Back when we were playing Gunner Fortnite, there's pros and cons to both. In my opinion, I think Bungie should just give people the option and leave it up to the user to decide for themselves. Now, this brings us to the weather and status effects. The environments will have things like lightning strikes that can hit you, and yes, they will shred off your shield, including your health. There's also things like toxic rooms. Negative status effects will be a thing in this game. I asked the question, is there going to be moments where someone can two-tap you with a thorn and you run around the corner and just burn out? Pretty much the answer I got was that everything can be countered with a consumable, which is why having different types of consumables is very important. Now, we also asked the question, is the weather dynamic? Andrew essentially said that it was slightly dynamic.
Yeah, they love ducks. They love ducks in that Starship Trooper games. Constantly just talking about ducks.
But nothing crazy. For instance, rain may start off light and get heavier throughout a match, but don't expect anything like Exoborn, where literally a tornado will spawn on
Frank and beans, man. That's all I talked about.
you and then turn into a fire tornado. And it also seems whatever weather is present when you load in will persist throughout the entire match. Now, in terms of extraction, in this game, they call it exfil. There are beacons that are protected by UESC combatants. Once activated, a beacon will notify the entire map that you intend to escape. Now, exfil points spawn randomly across the map. Now, if you do not extract before the match timer reaches 0, all remaining exfil points will disappear, and there will be one final exfil point, which gives all players one final chance to get out alive.
So they have, I don't know how many. Let's say there's like 4 points on the map where you have to extract, right? If you miss that at the end of 25 minutes, there's one extraction point, so everyone merges on the last point and then extracts. Here's the thing. What about if everyone just says, hey, don't shoot, and we all extract and get our stuff? What if this game turns into what Fallout was supposed to be, where everyone in Fallout 76 to fight, but nobody wanted to fight. They're all like, we're just gonna extract, and everyone just extracted.
Which means if there are multiple teams, that last exfil point is going to be extremely chaotic. Now, it was also mentioned that it's not over until every member of your team is dead. Even if one player is left alive, your
that's just like any other one.
allies
Right?
can still be revived and brought back into the fight. Now, in terms of maps, the alpha will have just the one map we can play, that being the Dire Marsh. However, there are 2 other maps that we know about currently in development.
This is the perfect minimal viable product for any company, and I'm not making fun of it. This is the perfect game for a company, right? A battle royale and an extraction are perfect. 1 map, 2 maps, 3 maps, minimal, right? Make your own stories as you play the game. Like, tell your stories. Like, this one time I was doing this in the game. They make it where you're going for the exact same stuff over and over. It's a perfect game.
One being the perimeter, which is an excavation site with
Yeah,
lots of
wiggle,
tunnels.
wiggle
the
to
other being the
extraction,
Marathon
yeah.
ship, which is supposed to be
If you do this, everybody does this. They're like, all right, everyone's cool. No one's gonna kill each other. We're all extracting.
full of secret puzzles. Now, this was information provided by other creators who played the alpha recently. I have not played the perimeter. I did play the marathon ship. And what I'm assuming is that we're probably going to have like the Dire Marsh as the first map for the alpha. And then if we have like an open beta, I wouldn't be surprised if the marathon ship is the main map for the beta, which let me just say the marathon ship was my favorite map and actually changed my experience for marathon overall. Now, reports suggest there's a fourth map, which is also planned to release soon after marathon's launch. Now, this takes us to ranked play. There will be a ranked mode at launch. Matchmaking parameters have not been specified on this, but unranked lobbies will not use any skill-based matchmaking. Now, there will only be systems in place to ensure new players don't instantly match against pro.
New players won't match pros. Okay, but how long does that last for? That's just the first match. That's just the first match. New players won't match with pros. How long is a new player not going to match? Do you know what I mean?
Runners. Now, I would love to tell you exactly how Bungie is going to handle mouse and keyboard and controller crossplay, but some sources say
Oh, there's crossplay? Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck, console players.
accommodations will be made for fair and balanced gameplay, while others say that matchmaking will be separate. Perhaps both are true. Perhaps it's still something Bungie's trying to figure out, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a number of pivots from now until launch. Now, this takes us to security. According to Bungie's latest TWAB, anti-cheat has been upgraded for the Tiger engine. So Marathon, at
It is the Tiger engine. So it's the same engine. It's just an upgraded engine.
least in theory, should have more safeguards in place to protect players against cheaters, since it's running on a dedicated server and not peer-to-peer connections like in Destiny. Now, this means Bungie will use tactics like fog.
Yeah, because think about that, Akuta Papa. So, okay, so here's the thing. If you play on day one, everyone's in on day one. Everyone's doing the same matches. Let's say you're like 10, 15 games in now, okay? You're 10, 15 games in, and now you're considered a expert. Now a new person comes in. You have 15 games on them. They're brand new. They don't get put into this pool. Now all of a sudden it's game 5. Okay, now they're tossed into these guys, which now have 25 games, and you're gonna get murdered. And you're gonna be like, so like the insert into the regular pool is probably after 2 hours, right? Because if you want your money back, you got to get 2 hours or less. 25-hour matches or 25-minute matches. So you could get four matches in. You get that 5th match in if you last all the way to the end, and that's basically your 2-hour window
Of war to try and hide player information when it's not required by other clients. Now, this does not mean that Marathon has solved cheating. They aren't even using systems that operate at a kernel level. I know some people are like, thank God, I don't want Bungie spying on me. As if you don't already.
Who's worried about that? Look, if you're playing video games online, okay, and you're signed up and connecting your one account to the other account to this account, look, they're already got you, buddy.
Have devices right now that know everything you do. What I hope this does mean, though, is that it will be harder to cheat inside of Marathon.
What game has no cheaters? I know he said harder to cheat, because that's the funny thing. You're going to get cheaters.
But do we have gone down this road before? Cheaters find ways. One thing I have liked here
Gamer's going to game.
recently, though, is the stance that Bungie has taken inside of Destiny, where people would get automatically banned without having to manually process whether or not that person was cheating. If you're rocking a 20.0 KD ratio with 99% accuracy, that's us, and therefore should be automatically banned. On the front of cheating, though, guys, I will say we have experienced arguably the worst cheating ever inside of Destiny. Luckily, it has gotten a lot better.
Wait, there's cheating in Destiny for PvP? How bad do you have to be to cheat in Destiny?
But I suspect Marathon's going to have its problems too. Now, this brings us to monetization. Bungie's been very quiet about the monetization for Marathon. Now, based on reports,
You know, when they're quiet, you know something's brewing.
it is being passed around that Marathon is going to be $40, including a battle pass in tune with the seasonal
Okay, rumor that it's $40, and then seasonal battle pass. Okay?
model, and it's going to feature a cash shop allowing
Of course it is.
folks to buy cosmetics. Now, we talked about this on stream yesterday, and I will say, like, $40 is not exactly, like, stupid expensive, and I know we have
Akuta Papa. Thank you much for $2 super chat. Says Concord has no cheaters. That is true. That is true.
You have things like Delta, which is free. You know, I've paid for Hunt Showdown. You got Tarkov out there, which has got like a $250 edition. There are pros and cons to charging money. Pro, it serves as a paywall against cheaters. Con, it limits the amount of
Pros, paywall for cheaters. I don't understand this. For some reason, they think that cheaters will not spend money to cheat. That's all cheaters do, is spend money to cheat. They buy the box that's $100 to cheat just so they can say they're good at the game. They pay a monthly subscription fee to cheat. What does this mean? Pros is paywall for cheaters. What are we talking about? The wiggle that's in the game, everyone cheated for that. Everyone paid to cheat for that. What are we talking about?
people that can try out your
Cons limits population. Sure. But that's why there's PvE in there.
game. Another con, if you're charging money, the standards have been raised. I can't tell you how many times I've played a game and it's free and I'm like, you know, this may not be the most fun game, but hey, it's free. The moment you charge money for it though, expectations have now been raised. At least at the time of this recording, nothing has been said about the monetization. And on the other side of things,
Ron, you don't know the wiggle? So we watched the video, I guess it was like over a year ago. So some guy did an investigative report about how rampant is cheating inside, was it Hunt Showdown or was it Tarkov? It was Tarkov, right? So there was a video that the guy made where he said everyone said there's cheaters inside of Tarkov, and he said I wanted to see myself, right? So he went into the game and he paid for the cheat. Okay, he paid for the cheat, went into Tarkov and started noticing that people would do this little wiggle, right? So he saw the wiggle happening and was like, wait a minute, what is that? So then he did the wiggle. And when he did the wiggle, the other guy did the wiggle. The only way you can see them wiggling through the map, because you'll see their exoskeleton because they're cheating, because you can see through walls, okay? Once he did the wiggle, the other person did the wiggle. So he knew that he had the cheat, and he knew that he had the cheat, okay? Well, then he started going more into this, and he did this in every match. He would do a wiggle, and then he would see someone else do the wiggle, okay? And every single match that he was in, he found someone with the cheat. He said, how many people are cheating in this game? Majority of the people were cheating in the game, right? Because now it was a game of if you did the wiggle and someone else did the wiggle and there was only two of you on the map, you would never come at each other because you knew each of you were cheating, okay? So you would go after everybody else and then extract. And you know that this person, so you're making like an agreement with them, right? Because you know where they are, they know where you are, so you're not going to go after each other because you're both cheating.
pre-orders have not opened, which was very surprising. I was expecting after yesterday's gameplay reveal that Bungie was going to roll out and be like, boom, you could pre-order now, which is what they've always done.
House says Bungie claims that they have auto-detect feature too. Anyone who's breaking the rules of the game an obvious way will be auto-banned. You know, if I was a person that told you that don't come rob me, I have a gun. Don't come near my house, I have cameras. Okay? I mean, I can say that, but you could call my bluff. I could have a gun. I could have cameras. You're not going to know until you get busted, right? So, of course, they're going to say, yeah, our cheating methods are much better now.
When it came to Destiny stuff. But that was not the case here with Marathon, which brings us to our release dates. Right now, it is scheduled to release on September 23rd.
So this is coming out the same day as Borderlands 4. Two completely different player bases here, right? You have the story-based single co-op game of Borderlands, which is a looter, okay? And then you have a extraction shooter, which there's loot as well. Two different player bases. Now, you could say, and some of you have already, is Borderlands 4 in danger of this, Or are they really in competition? Yeah, all games are in competition, especially if you're coming out the exact same day and you're asking for $40. If Borderlands is asking for 70 or 80 and this is asking for 40, they can look at that and go, well, someone will pay 40 before they pay 80 unless you're a fan of Borderlands, and then you're going to pay 80, right? So is it going to affect? I think more people, no matter what people think, there is more people playing single-player PvE game, co-op games, than there are people playing PvP games. This is not saying, because like World of Warcraft is a multiplayer game and there's PvP in it. There's millions of people playing, but there's not all playing PvP. You see what I'm saying? There are PvP games out there and PvE games like New World or any other MMO where there are people playing PvP, but the majority of people are playing PvE game modes, right? There are PvP modes like CSGO and stuff like that, but with all the games in the world that are PvP and all the games that are single player, there's more people playing PvE single player games than there are people playing PvP games. Okay? It's close, but there's more, right? I think it's like a 57 to like 40, 43 or whatever it is, okay? More people play and more people are attracted to a PvE type of game. Why? Because most older gamers have very little time to play games. And the amount of people that want to play games, they want their time respected. So they're not going to jump into a game that they don't know if they're going to win or lose. Sure, if you have friends you want to play games with and you're just having fun, cool, jump on in. Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever it is, Battle Royale, whatever one it is. What's going to make people leave the games they're already playing? If it's Call of Duty, if it's Fortnite, if it's Apex, if it's Showdown, if it's Tarkov, and come over to this particular game and play this. They'll try it out, but are they going to stick with it? Are they going to pay the $40 to give it a shot when they're already playing a game that they've spent $40 on, or if they're playing free-to-play and they have $100 into it already?
2025, which is exactly the same date as Borderlands 4. Now, I know some of you are like, that is terrible. Who is deciding the marketing on this? Why would you release the same date or even in the same month as Borderlands 4? There's also some of you like, Cross, I don't even care about Borderlands. I play PvP. Why would I care about?
See? That's exactly right. I'm a PvP player, so why do I even care about Borderlands? That's exactly right. He's a PvP player.
That
right? People used to argue that there was more people playing PvP in Destiny than PvE, and that wasn't true. That wasn't true, right? More people played PvE than PvP.
Fair, but I will offer this. If you had to choose a game to launch right next to, would you rather it be Borderlands 4 or Grand Theft Auto 6? And
well, they're both completely the same. If you're a PvP player, then why would you pick Grand Theft Auto 6? Right? What about this? What about if Borderlands 4 comes out and says, hey, we have an extraction mode? Right? Look, gamers are gamers, right? People play PvP games, people play PvE games, people play co-op games, people play puzzle games, whatever it is. They're going to take their hard-earned money, and they're going to pick one of these games if they came out at the exact same time. If I have $80 and I want to spend it on Grand Theft Auto, I'm going to spend it on that. If I have $40, I'm going to spend it on this if I want to pay this. If I have $120, I'm going to pay for both.
We know Grand Theft Auto 6 is supposed to be coming sometimes later this year. That's going to have a hell of a blast radius. The unfortunate thing about Borderlands 4, though, releasing the same date as Marathon, is that, yes, there is a lot of Destiny players that love Borderlands 4. So a lot of them are
There's more people that played Destiny that were Borderlands fans than were just PvP fans. People like the story and they like the PvE elements of Borderlands, and that's why they like Destiny.
probably going to opt for Borderlands and potentially hit Marathon another time. Now, the closed alpha arrives much sooner, actually April the 20th.
Here's another thing. Borderlands is number 4. It's a series that's been around for decades. Marathon is brand new. So if you had money, what would you spend it on? The series that you know or the gamble?
23rd and will run until May the 4th. Now, it is completely locked down. There will be no streaming, no sharing.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah. Nope. Nobody was supposed to stream. What was the game that just recently came out? Oh, Battlefield. The next Battlefield. People signed NDAs and no streaming, no sharing, no recording, and that broke in about half a second.
If you're outside of North America, we're under 18. Bungie hates you. I'm joking, but this is just for the first alpha. There will be more open play tests in the future, and hopefully, folks can.
I'm sure nobody's going to sign up for this with a VPN to say they're in the States, get it from the outside the States, and then sign the NDA, but they're not part of the States, so it doesn't really matter because it's in the States. I'm sure I'm sure nobody's going to do that.
Stream it. Now, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Having this be locked down, the no streaming, no sharing thing, good luck, Bungie. That shit's gonna be all over the place.
All over the place. That's 100% Ascross. At least he knows, right? 100% is going to be out and all over the place.
People are gonna be posting up videos.
Better turn into the skid. Turn into the skid, Bungie and Sony, because that's going to be all over the place.
Left and right, from Twitter to YouTube to TikTok to Twitch. I guarantee it, people are going to go live with this alpha. It's
100%. And they're going to get knocked down, and then there's going to be articles written, and then Marathon's going to get publicity because of it. Bungie said this, Bungie banned that person, this is it. But that stuff's going to be out and about. People are going to see it. Welcome to Guerrilla Marketing 101.
one thing to have like a closed play test of like a select few people, but when you have an alpha with thousands of people that are about to play your game, brother, things are gonna get out, man. So guys, that's all the information we have. We've combed through different interviews, different reviews, and I will say reviews right now on Marathon in its most recent alpha state have been mixed. SkillUp, who I greatly admire in this community, has some negative things to say about it. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, in my own playtime experience with it, there were some things that yes, Marathon did really well at, but there was something missing. And at the time, I just thought, all right, maybe it's just the fact that this is a pre-alpha build. Perhaps I'm just a biased Destiny player and I just need to remove myself from my Destiny chains. But with all games, guys, it really just comes down to, is it fun? Is it?
Yeah, totally. It can be fun, but an extraction is a very, very niche community. Again, we showed the numbers earlier, okay? There's a lot of people playing extraction type of games. If it's Helldivers, if it's Lost One, Dungeon Diver, whatever the hell it's what is that called? Darkest Dungeon, right? No, not Darkest Dungeon. Dark and Darker, right? Dark and Darker, right? There's plenty of games. Hunt Showdown, Tarkov. There's all of these games out there, but that's the pool. That's the pool. Okay. Now this game's coming in September, and is this pool going to be big enough to leave these games to go to this game? Or are they all of a sudden trying to go, like I said in the very beginning of this whole show, this podcast, are they trying to do with a broader audience, and people that are not playing extractions right now are going to come in and try this? That's a big gamble.
Addicting. And yes, there are some fun aspects to Marathon, but is it going to be fun enough for me to load up into season over season, especially after wipes, after deaths, after gear degrades? Is Marathon going to have the magic sauce that's really going to pull me in? We'll see. We'll be talking about this more tomorrow. We've got a few other videos we need to go through, a couple other opinion pieces to touch, but we'll be live going over that here very soon. Fellas and ladies.
All right, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for Azzacross if you're not already subscribed to him. The description down below, you can see his video. We're gonna switch over to an interview that SkillUp did through his podcast. Came out a couple hours ago. We're only gonna watch the part that he's talking to the game director. He asks him some questions, so we're gonna watch that. It's from the Friends Per Second podcast. They're interviewing the game director, so that's what we're going to watch here. If you guys like what I do, we just have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5, okay? Just from that alone, that was a nice little download of what's happening here. Now we're going to look at the interview with the director and see what he has to say about the game. Look, again, I'm not shitting on Marathon in any way, shape, or form. I'm looking at it going, how is this going to come out and survive? I said it's going to be here for at least a year. I don't think it's going to be a Concord. I don't. Okay? I think Bungie's bigger than that. They'll float it and pretend it's successful before they tell you it's a failure. Okay? Destiny 2 was a failure when it came out. We didn't know about that until 3 years afterwards when they told you at GDC that they almost closed the shop of Destiny 2. Okay? In the public perception, we thought Destiny is just perfect. There's no problems. But meanwhile, behind the scenes, they were struggling. Okay? This is a game that's a niche community, and you're trying to broaden it out, and maybe they can do that. If someone could do it, maybe it could be Destiny or it could be Bungie. We'll see. All right, so let's go over to this. Let me make sure it's at the normal speed.
That right now.
We are here at Bungie HQ, as you can tell from the branding behind us and all the other stuff. We're here with Joe. Man, really fantastic. I really appreciate you sitting down to talk to us.
Yeah.
It's obviously been a huge 2 days for you, so thanks for making the time.
I appreciate all of you for coming out. Like,
Now, Joe Ziegler's been on the project for about 2 years because obviously we know what's his name left because of, well, scummy things were happening behind the scenes.
It's been really fun to see like everybody engage with it. Yeah, so thank
sure.
you so
You had a
much,
bunch of people come. Like you
It's
had
a lot.
press, you had players, you had everybody come. So
Now, SkillUp has said that they tried to fly him out, paid expenses, and they turned it down. That's the only person I've heard that said they turned it down. Everybody else took airfare, hotel, and food, but hasn't disclosed that, by the way. Okay, SkillUp has said we did not take the money. I think Jake Baldino also said they negated it as well, and they flew themselves there, which is the right thing to do. Okay, which is the right thing to do.
what is that? How does that feel to get that like immediate reactions?
The word I feel like has been floated around has been nerve-sighted, if that makes sense. Like whenever you've been working on this for a while, you get a little bit nervous, you get a little bit excited.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we've been working on it for a long time. There's a lot of passion poured into this project. So I think a lot of us are just excited to kind of have people see it and engage with it, tell us what they think, even if it's like crazy negative feedback or positive feedback, it's all valuable to us. So I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're really keen to chat with you because obviously Marathon, really interesting game to talk about. And I guess starting at that very foundational level, I mean, one of the questions we had is like, why is Bungie doing an extraction shooter? Like, because
That is the question. That is the question. Why are you choosing to do an extraction shooter, especially off an IP like Marathon, which came out in 1994? Why are you taking that name and then turning it into an extraction? Why not just make a brand new extraction? I think they're a little worried that if they didn't use a name that they already owned, then it would be, what is this type of thing?
that's a big pivot for the studio. It's a bit of a niche genre. And obviously Bungie's never made anything quite like this. So tell us about the decision to move into this specific genre.
I'm gonna try to make it a little louder. I think I can make it a tad bit louder for you guys.
Oh man, I think a lot of it is honestly, there's kind of two reasons you make a game. Let's be honest, right? One, because you think there's a business opportunity, and the other one is because you're passionate about it, right?
Okay, so you're making a game, okay, to make money. That's number one. Yeah, and because you're passionate about it.
I would say this one started because you're passionate about it. A lot of us played extraction shooters, and there's something like magical about the tension of surviving a situation that you feel like you can't, that really we feel like creates emotions and drives this like sort of peak and valley of your emotional like roller coaster that is unique to the title and to any sort of like kind of genre that exists at the current time, that we wanted to take and sort of find a way to introduce it to a lot of people who might have trouble getting into it currently. So that's really ultimately it. And part of the reason why we thought Marathon was such a good idea to do it with is because Marathon, if you remember like the 1991 IP.
Did he just say 1991? I'm going to rewind just a little bit. I'm going to rewind a little bit here for a second.
And sort of find a way to introduce it to a
He asked what were the two questions
situation that you feel like you can't, that really we feel like creates emotions and drives this like sort of peak and valley of your emotional like roller coaster that is unique to the title and to any sort of like kind of genre that exists at the current time, that we wanted to take and sort of find a way to introduce it to a lot of people who might have trouble getting into it currently. So that's really ultimately it. And part of the reason why we thought Marathon was such a good idea to do it with is because Marathon, if you remember like the 1991 IP, is all about this kind of like paranoia.
I remember.
And, like,
I remember
like
Marathon,
this,
but I don't remember it in 1991. I remember it in 1994. Yeah, I remember it in 1994. So when you say the two important things, you say, well, business decision and also, you're telling me, okay, it didn't exist in 1991. I doubt he was there when it came out in 1991. But to say that the thing came out in 1991, but it came out in 1994, shows me that you really don't know where Marathon came from.
How do I put it? Weird, kind of like unsure narrator, like unreliable narrator.
Exactly right, Worlds. Thanks for confirming it was used to just help sell copies. Maybe, Ralph, I don't know how old these guys are. Maybe Ralph was there in 1994. I don't know about Jake. Jake seems a little young.
Kind of like storyline, and we felt like that vibe matched kind of what you felt while you were playing the game pretty effectively, and so that was like a big part of it. Yeah.
What kind of extraction shooters like you guys playing?
Oh, played everything from Tarkov, obviously, like one of the biggest genre leads, to DMZ, which is like sort of the offering, Delta Force, a variety that came out in between, small ones that I never heard of. But yeah.
Did you play Marathon? Did you guys play Marathon?
No love for Hunt Showdown.
Maybe there was a 1991 version I don't remember.
Hunt Showdown, yeah, we actually played a decent amount of that too.
But I mean, Z says maybe he knows for the devs. It was created, started in 1991, took 4 years to make it. Z, come on now. Come on now. The video game industry back then wasn't what it is today. They didn't start talking about games 4 years in advance.
Of those, like which are those the kind of audiences you're hoping to bring into Marathon, or something that's a bit more approachable for more casual?
I think a little bit of both. Like what I mean by that is that like I think there are a certain amount of people who play extraction shooters who are really focused on the experience of surviving and having fun and doing that, that aren't necessarily married to any given title or are having trouble like bringing their friends.
But they are married. People that play Tarkov are married to Tarkov. People that play Tarkov are not playing every single extraction shooter. They're diehard Tarkov, right? They're not dipping their toes into Tarkov and then going to play Battle Royale Apex Legends or diving into CSGO. No, they're playing Tarkov.
In or whatever the case might be. For us, when we think about
be positive. Look, I call it how it is. The dude doesn't know when the game came out. The way he stated it was not when they started developing it. He said, "You remember Marathon in 1991."
Making an extraction shooter, it's not just about like sort of fitting a genre need, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's about creating an experience that's really focused on survival, a survival adventure.
You could close your ears and close your eyes and just go through life. I listen to the words come out of their mouth and how it's presented.
Oh, a game where you can tell stories with your friends going through it, especially crazy stories about success and failure as you know, as you see it, and all of those stories feel like they enrich like your connection.
Look, do you hear what he just said? Right? Let me rewind it. Okay. He's talking about a extraction, really focusing on survival. Okay. A survival adventure, a game where you can tell the stories with your friends. What was the stories? What did they say about Destiny at the end? Destiny was about the friends you made along the way.
Especially crazy stories about success and failure as you know, as you see it, and all of those stories feel like they enrich like your connections with other people as well. Big mission for us at Bungie is sort of creating worlds that sort of inspire friendship. And that's like one.
What kind of garbage is this? Connects with other people as well as big mission for us at Bungie is sort of creating it to say creating worlds that sort of inspire friendship. I mean, sure. Kumbaya. Like, what are we talking about? Of course games bring people together. Right? Of course, I could play with a stick outside with my friend when we were kids. And remember that time we played in that tree where we broke our arm falling out of the tree? Remember that? Man, those was good times. Good tree. I remember that tree.
That's like one way to do it is to kind of
get a good friendship. You remember you carried me back to my house when my arm was just like hanging down? Not a true story. I've never broke my arm like that.
Go through hardship together, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Just to like push on that question a little, obviously the extraction shooter genre is an incredibly hardcore genre, depending on which game, whatever else. You look at your Tarkov.
No, it's a very niche community.
Goals and all that sort of stuff.
Are there millions of people that play in that community? Yes. Are there millions of people playing that one game? No. Besides Tarkov, no.
The other, and obviously Bungie's games typically have a more sort of broad-based appeal. In designing Marathon, if you imagine a spectrum, like where are you sort of aiming on that spectrum in terms of hardcore versus accessible? Is it like
If you make no, if you don't dive into the hardcore and you don't dive into the broader audience, then it's a game for nobody, right? If you're not making it hardcore, but you're trying to make it more accessible for everybody else, or not making it accessible for everybody else, like it's audience for nobody then.
we're definitely teetering more towards that hardcore side, or where would you put it?
This is a really interesting topic because the term hardcore is so hard to define.
Sure.
Like if you ask any
It's not. It's not. A hardcore person is a person that like puts everything into it. That's their game. If it's for a month, if it's for a week, if it's for 6 months, if it's for a year, hardcore. Okay. If you lean towards the hardcore, you're going to push away the casuals. If you go to the casuals, you're going to lose the hardcore. This is how it works.
any given person.
Yeah.
But I think what we wanted to take was
If you had to go with one or the other, you've got to go with casuals. You got to go with casuals because you can make the money from them, and if you keep it fun, which video games should be, and not sweaty, okay, then you keep that, but it has to be fun. It has to be that loop that's happening. But if you make it hardcore, you're going to lose the majority of the people that may come in, and then you have this small niche community.
to take the concept, the core of what makes an extraction shooter really interesting, which is like sort of the tension, the survival, the concept of managing your resources correctly, the concept of kind of navigating and adapting to all the threats that exist in the world, interestingly. But we wanted to remove a lot of sort of like the, how do you put it, like opacity from the front end that makes
What makes an extraction shooter?
it hard to get into some of them. So like some extraction shooters are really, really opaque when you're thinking about how do I relearn how to move and shoot? How do I get
This is the problem Destiny had with the PvP in Destiny. From Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, they didn't know what to do. In Destiny 1, they leaned more towards where they wanted to be competitive, okay? But then when they went from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, they backed off being competitive and tried to make it more open to everybody else, which then pushed everyone away because it wasn't as competitive. Then they split up the player base because of the trials from 1 to 2, and it just kind of lost what it was. Then they stopped supporting it completely. Okay, then they just stopped supporting it completely, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, there's still PvP in there," because they didn't know what they wanted to do with PvP. Now they have an extraction, and it seems like the way he's talking about it is like we wanted to keep the hardcore, but we got to get the other people because hardcore is a niche, and if you're grabbing the hardcore people from here, how are they going to leave this game to come to you? Why would they leave this game to come to you? If they like the style of this, why are they going to come to your style? What do you do better? Look at her face. Look at her face when she's like, hold on, I gotta back up here to see what he's saying.
enough information to take when you're front end that makes it hard to get into some of them. So like some extraction shooters are really, really opaque when you're thinking about how do I relearn how to move and shoot? How do I get enough information to even know
Oh, it was just a bad pause. Okay.
where I'm going on the map, things like that. And we were stripping all of those elements out. And as we were doing that, we were trying to enrich the actual events that occur inside of the world by bolstering things like AI interactions or finding ways to sort of like create kind of, I don't want to give away too much, but kind of interesting like sort of puzzles that exist inside of the environment for you to dive into while under this pressure of other runners kind of running around trying to do the same thing. So, so it's really like taking the heart. So when you think about it, there's some hardcore-ish elements in it, which is like the idea of survival being kind of an intense experience. But we've really ramped up the approachability to thinking about how do I get into telling those survival stories more.
So are they making it where it's approachable early on, but then it gets more complicated as you go in? Like, I don't understand. Look, everyone's looking.
Than anything else.
Everyone's
rather than
looking like, look, Jake Baldino's looking down going, okay, yeah, all right, so I don't really know. Ralph is looking at him like, okay, and she's like, yeah. I don't think they're buying it.
stuck on the way to get there.
Yeah. I mean, and it's sort of in tangent to that, Bungie, an incredible history of innovation throughout its, Marathon, Halo just rewrote the book.
Marathon back from 1991.
Destiny, say what you will about Destiny, but you can't argue the impact that's had on the industry.
Yeah.
What are you really shooting for here in terms of innovating on this extraction genre? Like, what are the main pillars that you're driving towards in terms of innovation?
Yeah, so there's actually 2 or 3 different angles that we're looking at. We're really looking at it from like a social based like kind of angle where it's like,
We're looking from a social base where we can't have proximity chat. We're looking from a social base, though.
what does it mean to be a part of a crew that's trying to survive as opposed to survival has oftentimes frequently been sort of associated as like sort of a solo survival experience. And we're really leaning into what does it mean to sort of go on that experience with friends and a crew, which means
I'm sorry, did he just say we're looking? Okay, we're really looking at it from like a social base,
angle where it's like
a kind of angle.
what does it mean to be a part
where
of
it's
a
like,
crew
what does
that-
it mean to be a part of a
trying to survive
crew
as opposed-
that's trying to survive as opposed
survival-
to survival?
has oftentimes frequently been sort of associated as like sort of a solo survival.
You're gonna get that based on the way you're making your quests inside the game, right? If I'm working on something different than the other random person that I'm in a team with, we're gonna break off and do our own thing because people are very selfish when it comes to stuff like that.
Survival experience, and we're really leaning into what does it mean to sort of go on that experience with friends and a crew, which means we've invested in a lot of like mechanics and concepts around that. One of them is actually runners, where the runner idea helps the crew organize around like kind of how do I want to participate into a crew, what kind of role do I want to play, like how do I want to bring a value to the crew, which can be really hard to do when that is all determined purely by the items that you find. So we built it into sort of like a kit that becomes part of a runner idea. Another area is that we're actually thinking about how do we play this across multiple platforms. Like, for example, like extraction shooters mostly are PC oriented these days, but we've built a lot into like sort of how do you use controller and do that? You know, how do you play in that way, right?
This is gonna be a nightmare, PC versus controller.
And the third layer is I think we're trying to like do something a little bit quirky here on this front, but how do you enrich the sort of context of the world of that space? You know, like how do you care about like what's happening to the world, like what's happening in the narrative as you're sort of going through it, like are you investigating a mystery, are you sort of like unfolding something that's happening there? So those 3 things I think are a lot at the core. But if you
What about if they don't have a story yet? Like they haven't made the story, because why make the story if they don't know if it's going to succeed or not? Right? So maybe they have a small portion of story, but obviously I don't think they have an entire book that they can sell off the end, right? I think they just made a story and they're like, yeah, well, this is what we think it's going to be, but we're not going to write it yet. We got to see how many people are going to play it first.
unwind any single one of those, there's just a ton of
Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I just feel like that's the way they're selling it. Right? They don't know if it's going to do well, so why write a book when you could write a paragraph?
Still, so
I'll probably stop there. But yeah.
Well, because in terms of social, is there any kind of social space? Obviously, we're playing the alpha, so there wasn't, there's a lot of stuff in there that's not maybe finished yet. But I mean, is there going to be some kind of social space to hang out?
No, like direct social space, and part of it is actually
So what's social? What's social about the 3 friends that you're hanging out with? Or I'm sorry, you and 2 friends are going to hang out with. What's social? If I can't talk to the other team, and I can't talk to anybody else, I can only talk to the group I'm in, then what's the social aspect of this game?
it's complicated to think about a social space where a bunch of people are about to kill each other, want to hang out together. But we'll say that what we are investing in is sort of more the social bonds of the crew that comes together, you know, and how they get value out of one another. Like one of the biggest things that happens in like kind of more hardcore BRs or more hardcore extraction shooters is one person dies, they're just completely booted out. And
Listen. I don't know if you've ever played a non-extraction game before, but even in Fortnite, a battle royale, or Battlefield, or Call of Duty, there's people that will not pick you up. There's people that will not pick you up. They leave you on the ground because they don't care. You're on their team. They don't care. There's people on your team in Fortnite that will not pick you up and revive you, or pick up your card afterwards to revive you. You cannot force people to be teammates. You either are a teammate or you learned it, or you're not a teammate, right? That's just it. You're going to be in a solo. People are going to jump in the game just to play to see what it is, right? They're not going to team up with you or talk to you or anything. They're going to be antisocial because they don't want to talk to you. So they won't communicate with their team, and they're just going to go around doing everything else. And once they die, they're just going to back out because rinse and repeat.
If you're with friends, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm going to sit on the side.
I'll just
while everyone-
watch.
Exactly, yeah, which is like the worst experience, right? And whereas in this game, we have this idea that you can always kind of come back in. If your friends can pick you up, you're there. We wanted to sort of do iterations like that where you got automatic value from just kind of playing with people, right? But we do have other areas that are sort of more socially competitive.
World says this is. It's why I leave my son's card on the ground, because he decided to run off on his own. That's it. You know, dog eat dog world. You know what I mean? Life lesson. That's it. I agree.
That we're looking at in a post-launch world that have to do with the idea of how do I become skillful and then compare myself to other people, and things of that sort.
So I mean, when we're talking a minute ago about the story, about innovation, you said story is a big focus. Really,
Story's a big focus, but we're not adding it in the thing.
keen to sort of dive into that a little bit, because I mean, as we were here today, we obviously couldn't experience a lot of that because we're in a quick play test and we don't get the chance to dive into it in much depth. But we understand that the kind of narrative framework is built at this point, and that you guys are looking to build the narrative content over the next little while and lead up to launch. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's definitely true. Although I will say that narrative is slightly different in a game like this. You know, it's really hard to kind of think about.
If the director can't tell you what the game is for the story narrative, we have issues.
Let me rephrase this. There's an interesting conflict when it comes to PvP games and narrative, right? In PvP games, the majority of the narrative, you want to focus on what the player is doing and the story that they're telling of the actions they're taking inside of the game, you know? And so you don't want to crush that by basically forcing them into some sort of narrow box of what's happening in the world. So for us to make it breathe, where players can tell all sorts of different stories about what they're happening, we really focus on sort of providing what Julia, our director, has called systemic narrative, systemic narrative.
So basically what Division does, not telling you a story, and you happen to go somewhere and find a piece of paper or an audio log, or a scenario happens, like a diorama in front of you where someone's dead and you're like, what happened here, right? So it's not actually story.
Storytelling, which means that we're creating a context around the player, you know?
We're creating a context around the player.
A context in the player of a world that sort of is changing and shifting.
MVP. Minimal viable product. The bare minimum.
Around them, but how they interact with it is done through things like the perspective of a runner taking contracts from their employer, whether it be a faction A or faction B or faction C. Okay. And then that gives a lens into the world that exists there. But additionally, on top of that, because our game is kind of about finding things and getting them out, there's also...
It's about finding things and getting them out of there. Robert Jones says, long way from saying lore.
So a sort of detective mystery kind of in there, where we're building a system that's.
Do you know why he can't say what they're building? Because they're still building it.
Associated with collecting things, and then as you collect them, you'll get pieces of clues of what's happening in the world around there. So, yeah.
So tangibly speaking, I imagine that a lot of storytelling is going to be, you know, for want of a better term, like on YouTube, or in the sense that, like, you know, people are going to sift through clues and they're going to piece things together, and then they'll tell the story about their own theory of what is happening in this world. And that's how a lot of people will see it, except for obviously the really motivated people who want to discover this stuff for themselves. Is that right? You
Yeah,
think?
definitely.
Yeah,
I think that
I like how Skillup, Ralph, just literally told him what he's like. So you're saying that this is what it's going to happen? He's like, oh yeah, definitely. I think there's people back at Bungie right now going, oh, that's a good idea. I feel, maybe, okay. I feel another Anthem-esque type of thing going on. And what I mean by this is Anthem showed a bunch of stuff before Anthem knew what Anthem was. Not until Anthem, about 18 months before the game came out, did they know what Anthem was. Right? If you can't tell me what the story or type of stuff is, that means you don't know it yourself right now, and they'll piece it together. They have time because, one, it's an extraction game, and they could add stuff or subtract things and balance things and whatever else as they go. So 12, 18 months from now, right? It comes out in September. So by September of 2026 into 2027, around this time in 2027, if the game's around, it'll be a much better game by then.
Could definitely happen. And honestly, both outcomes.
Hold on a second. About the theory was that's all happening in this
and that's how
world.
a lot of people will see it, except for obviously the really motivated people who want to discover this stuff for themselves. Is that right? You
Yeah,
think?
definitely.
Yeah,
I think that could definitely happen. And honestly, both
I think that could definitely happen.
outcomes are kind of fine with us because it creates a community discourse, right? Like
Mhm.
some people are going to opt out of caring about the story. They're
Yeah.
just going to
Some people are going to just opt out by caring about the game.
be focused on playing the gameplay and things of that sort. But for those who really care about it, we want to give them a way to piece things together, give them a chance to sort of work with other people to sort of discuss, have some sort of open-ended questions that they might be theorizing around. So
And in terms of like delivery mechanisms for the story, is there stuff we haven't seen, like, excuse me, like dialogue or like voice memos or cutscenes, like what?
there are things like that planned in the future.
Yeah, in the future, not now. It's a good idea, Jake. We'll mark it down. We'll add that to the game. Don't worry about it.
That I was mentioning before, the sort of collection-based feature.
Cool.
Some of the things you'll unlock might be some of those.
Interesting.
So-
Okay.
There might be some of those interesting. There might be some of those. Mark it down. Mark it down.
So more mechanical sort of questions. Really curious about the development of this game.
Yeah.
So how long exactly has Bungie as a studio been working on Marathon?
I can't tell you exactly.
Okay.
Someone asked me this earlier.
Right.
And I was
Is there a
like,
ballpark?
it's like-
Is it like
I want to say more than 4 years.
okay?
Now, I'll give him a pass. Because he wasn't on the team before he got there. So he doesn't know how long they worked on it before. But he says they were there for 2 years. So it's around 4 years. Okay. Now, obviously, we know that they've been working on it for about 2 years before he got there. So it's about 4 years. So 4 years, and he can't tell you what type of story is going to be and how you're going to do it.
About there, yeah.
All right, cool.
So,
And how many people have worked on it at different points in terms of ramp? And how many people are on it right now as it's kind of looking to get out the door soon?
right now we have not much less than about 300 developers working on
300,
it,
okay.
I would say.
300 people making this game. Okay.
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 I don't remember the exact number because obviously
Sure, shifts and yeah, of
it
course.
shifts all the
Yeah,
time.
right.
But yeah, that's about the size, yeah.
Why is this making you not trust Jake anymore? What did Jake say? Jake and all of these guys paid their own way there. They're not being paid by Bungie.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you came on board as game director how long ago?
About 2 years ago.
Okay,
yeah.
right, cool. And when you made that jump, that's obviously a big change. Were you working on the team before then and were promoted in, or you came in fresh to the studio?
I was working on a different project.
Got
at
it,
the
okay.
Oh, different project. Bungie's working on something else.
time,
Cool,
you know,
got
but I was consulting with the team at
Got
the
it,
time.
got it, cool.
around then.
And so when you came in, were there certain things that you saw and you're like, okay, these things need to shift? Whether you saw like real opportunities for the game to evolve, and how did you see that as you moved into that role?
Yeah, so there was definitely a couple things that were opportunities, but really honestly, the first thing that I did when I was consulting with the team that existed here while I was working on a different project was I was really interviewing them to see what they were trying to accomplish. You know, like for example, what is it that you really care about in this game? What matters the most? And as we sort of had those
I know the answer. What is the most thing that you need about this game? We need to sell well. We need money. Thank you.
discussions, the opportunity that was recognized by the entire leadership team was this idea of we really want to make a game that really tests that your ability to survive, you know, to think about how you survive inside of a game. And I was like, that's awesome. They were inspired by a lot of movies where that's true, like where you go out into a location or you see a hero go out to a location and then every
He says, 2 years in, what are you trying to do? What? I'm so confused by some interviews.
odd would be against them and they'd be like, oh, I have.
And again, I'm not trying to give shade, right? I'm only listening to what I hear and judge it based on what they're saying. And they're not giving me motivation here of why I should be excited about Marathon. Besides, Bungie made Destiny, so this is going to be good.
Have to hobble together a way to get out, right? And so I was like, okay, we can make that game. Now, how we make that a game, we have to find a structure that actually motivates people to do that, right? Like motivates them to do that kind of thing. And some of the structural elements they had were loose at the time, and so
Is he talking about the players? Like, is he talking about the structural elements in the game to get players to play or the developers to make the game? I'm confused. Let me back up here for a second.
Hobbled together a way to get out, right? And so I was like, okay, we can make that game. Now, how we make that a game, we have to find a structure that actually motivates people to do that, right? Like motivates them to do that kind of thing. And some of the structural elements they had were loose at the time. And so we were like, okay, let's try to form this together a little bit more. One of the things that we shifted was away from this concept of like what they called at the time a living world server.
So they're talking about the developers. So let me back up here for a second. Let me hear this part one more time, because this is talking about the actual developers.
Or go out to a location, and then every odd would be against them, and they'd be like, "Oh, I have to, hobble together a way to get out," right? And so I was like, "Okay, we can make that game." Now, how we make that a game, we have to find a structure that actually motivates people to do that, right? Like motivates them to do that kind of thing. And some of
So the structure to motivate the developers to make the game that they want to make.
the structural elements they had were loose at the time, and so we were like, okay, let's try to form this together a little bit more. One of the things that we shifted was away from this concept of like what they called at the time a living world server, which is like you can drop in at any time and drop out at any time. Now, while that sounds like conceptually appealing, one of the challenges we ran into is that when you enter the world, you don't really have a strategic map in your mind of the variables that you're playing against. And so when you enter the world, you're like, you could walk out into the open and immediately somebody is like to the left of you, or like the world in front of you has been looted already, or the case might be, right? And trying to solve those problems became very, very complicated. Whereas if we decide to go, hey, we're going to go for a session-based thing, then it's easier to say, oh, at the beginning of the session, this is what's true about the world, and then it can decay from there as you sort of think about it and adapt to the different ways that other players have been interacting with it. And so that was one of the bigger changes. The other bigger change was, how do we make it a more social game, like a game where when you're going to play with other people, you're making decisions that are important. And some of that.
Are you though? How is that social? His social, my social, I think are two different things.
That led to runners, which is the idea that in some extraction shooters, you don't kind of have a guidance for like how you want to interact with the world. You have a lot of items in the world, and you can kind of assemble a kit of parts.
The map. When I jump into a map, hell, I'll even use Minecraft for this. Soon as you log into Minecraft for a brand new seed, the first thing you do is go, where am I? I'm in a forest, I'm in a desert, I'm in a snow biome, whatever. You're assessing where you are. Great. What do I need? I need wood. I need to make tools. I need to make a house, right? You're constantly doing this. So what would make it different in an extraction shooter? If I drop into an extraction, very first time, I'm not going to know where I am. But I assess. All of a sudden, building over there, building over here, guys over there. You assess as you go. What is this talking about?
But you don't really know how that interacts with you or you when we're
Of course not. It's called exploration
in the game, right? Like if you're saying, hey, I would want to scout ahead and be that kind of frontline person, you're like, okay, does that mean I have to go loot out, a bunch of stuff that allows me to do that, right? And we were like, how about we set a baseline for that and think of these like sort of utility-based roles that we can push in. And then what is the most exciting way we can deliver that is by kind of giving them personalities and giving them visual looks that are really cool. So, yeah.
Sorry, Luke, you go on.
No.
I was going to say, and those characters, is there a plan to tell stories centric to them, or is the story more about the world and the broader dynamics?
I think the story is more about the world and the broader dynamics.
I think. I think.
More about the world and the broader dynamics.
I think the story is more about the world and the broader dynamics.
Right.
So each one.
You are the game director. What do you mean? I think it's about the more about the world.
One might provide a little bit of a lens into that world.
Sure.
But really, honestly, I think the star of the show and is ultimately sort of this marathon world, right?
The marathon world that was built in 1991.
The Tau Ceti world, the marathon ship, things beyond potentially as we're going further into season. So
We've got those big names.
marathon ship, things beyond potentially as we're
Things beyond potentially. Potentially meaning we haven't made it yet. Potentially.
going further into season. So
We've got those big name voice actors. You've got Ben Starr in there. We've recognized the
Ben Starr
lions.
has got such a great voice, doesn't he?
He does.
He's amazing.
The goat.
Yeah, seriously.
So again, more sort of fairly specific questions. matchmaking.
Mhm.
You mentioned in the presentation that there is going to be something to protect less experienced players from matching with highly experienced pros.
Yeah.
Is that a kind of like, MMR ELO system, or is it based on time, or what can you tell us about that?
So we're starting. I'm not going to reveal too many of the
Sure.
details of it, but what I will say is that our first priority is, especially in this first season, is twofold. One is to sort of make sure that as players are learning the game, we're kind of separating out the players who are still learning from the players who are kind of gaining a lot of the map.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to assess the people that know and not know? Right? Let's get past the first match, right? Someone that's in the game for 10 matches and someone that's in the game for 30 matches. How would you know that this person that has good sense of direction at 10 matches is not just as good as the person at 30 games that's died multiple times, that hasn't explored enough? How are you going to sift through that?
Knowledge of the game. Part of it is because game knowledge plays a big part in games like this. As you learn more about the world, you learn about the nooks and crannies that you can navigate inside of it.
You could fix this by watching a YouTube video. Before I even go into my first match, I wait a week, right? I watch Jake Baldino over here talk about the greatest places to drop in when you drop in, if you drop in this section, or watch other YouTube videos, tell me the best thing. I never played the game, but now I can get all the information of what the best is, and now I already have an advantage.
You learn more about how the situations unfold and how you can evade or like interact with those situations. And so what we wanted to do is sort of
If you're learning how to invade in a situation, that means the NPCs do the exact same thing all the time?
create a first layer that says, hey, as you're gaining game knowledge, you're kind of not just using that to stomp on people who are brand new to a map or something of the sort. That was the first part. The second part is our main goal is to learn enough to actually kind of continuously refine that as we go along.
Yeah.
So as we're going into it, we're starting at that layer. And as we see players like sort of adapt and mold to kind of what that means, season 2 is going to have more needs. And so we're kind of shifting.
Season 2 comes in and they put a brand new map in. So wouldn't that happen over again, that people don't know what they're doing and they have to start slowly going over again?
Okay.
As we're going into
That's
this.
interesting, yeah. So really interesting. So you're going to have...
Jake looks like Jake's thinking about stuff. He is. I'm not making fun of Jake. Jake is like, what he just said. What he just said. Hold on. Is this right here.
You just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
like what is happening, right? Like, I don't want to say the game's cooked. I'm just saying that what he's saying right now is not really selling it to me if I was on the cusp.
6 runners at launch.
Mhm.
You're going to have 3 maps at launch. This is going to be a premium product.
Mhm.
They're going to pay for this, right? And have you announced a price tag yet?
We have not, I don't think, yeah.
Okay, right, cool. So obviously,
He had a look. Stop for a second. I'm going to rewind. I'm not going to say what I'm about to say. I want you to look at what he just said one more time. Okay? I'm going to back up just a little bit. And I want you to tell me what you guys just noticed.
this is going to be a premium product.
Mhm.
They're going to pay for this, right? And have you announced a price tag yet?
We have not, I don't think, yeah.
Okay, right, cool.
What did you notice there, chat? What did you notice there? Anybody? Anybody notice anything weird that happened?
They're going to pay for this, right? And have you announced a price tag yet?
We have not.
No, not the girl. Not the girl. The director of the game. Nope. The director of the game, he asked the question, do you know a price tag yet? And he had to look off camera because there's a bunch of suits and lawyers on the other side of this camera. He had to look over at somebody to be like, yeah, no, I don't know. No, I don't think we have. He doesn't know the price point yet. One more time.
You're going to have 3 maps at launch. This is going to be a premium product. People they're going to pay for this, right? And have you announced a price tag yet?
We have not, I don't think. Yeah.
Okay, right, cool. So obviously, there's always lots of
Jake looks so defeated. I know he's just zoned out. It's just, I don't know. I like watching people's facial expressions and body language.
discussion around a game like this having a price tag, obvious parallel being something like Concord. Does that premium price tag make you at all nervous going into this? Do you feel confident that that is not going to be?
He's like, what kind of answer can I give since I didn't even know we didn't even have the price tag yet? Let me give something really good here.
He's not going to hinder the success of the product of the game and the population, etc.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think for this genre,
It's very interesting. I think with a genre like this, since we're Bungie, we can charge for something like this because we're Bungie. And you know who would be really good to give this interview? Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken would be a fantastic person to be the spokesperson for Bungie, right? He could be like, well, we don't know the price yet. It's a terrible Christopher Walken impression, but just word salad. It's just say whatever. He doesn't know the answer. He asked a question, and instead of just saying, I don't really have an answer to that, he's making up something in his head right now. Look, wind it up.
And the population, etc.
yeah, it's interesting. I think for this genre, for this particular genre, I think there's a variety of different entrants that have come at like either a box price or not.
It's like asking a baseball player, how'd you win today? Well, we just got up to bat more, and we just hit the ball more than the other team. And that's how we won.
And I don't think it's really massively influenced either side of it. Now, obviously, we're hoping and we are aspiring that what we're showing, is going to be exciting enough that somebody's going to take the leap with us. But we are also committed to delivering on seasons past this, that will.
Well, I'm going to rewind one more time. Watch what he says and how he takes a breath.
We are aspiring that what we're showing, is going to be exciting enough that somebody's going to take the leap with us. But we are also committed to.
Right there. We're also excited to take the leap, but we're also committed to delivering. Like, he just thought about it for a split second, right? He knows that how many seasons they have to work on. And he was like, it's like when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I gotta fucking go to work. Like, that's what that is right there. One more time.
Is going to be exciting enough that somebody's going to take the leap with us. But we are also committed to delivering on seasons past this, that will continuously sort of offer to evolve the game and things like that without an increase to the box price. So there's a lot of really, what we're hoping everyone understands about the game is that
that's $40, $50.
We're really focused on committing to like sort of making this a game. Oh, that's really.
Wait a minute. Did he just say we're hoping that everyone understands about the game?
We're really focused on committing to like sort of making this a game. Oh, that's really awesome.
So they haven't committed yet. We haven't committed yet. We're looking forward to on committing to like sort of making this game, or that's really awesome.
And we feel like that starting point is really strong at the current times.
So they haven't made a game yet. They haven't made a complete game yet.
So, but I mean, obviously everyone's got their own, definition of like what is, what's the right price of anything, of course.
Yeah, everyone's got a price. Just, is the game done? Is the game done?
And as we sort of deliver that information, we're hoping we hit the right price that makes you feel.
We hope we hit the right price.
It's worth your value. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I mean, like, a big part of that is obviously you want the community to.
Look at Jake. Hold on a second. Watch Jake's face this entire time.
Price of anything, of course. And as we sort of deliver that information, we're hoping we hit the right price that makes you feel it's worth your value. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I mean, like, a big part of that is obviously you want the community.
You're like, wait a minute. What does that mean?
To be a part of that and go along with you. Pete Parsons gave like an intro in the session, and he said, this is the most community-driven project Bungie's ever done. Can you clarify what you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the cycle of like working with different testers and creators, we've invested a lot in sort of constantly iterating our game alongside both creator feedback and also tester feedback as we've gone along. We have a pretty robust like user research thing that's focused a lot more on experiential like iterations than anything else. I think typically when you think about
I'm sorry. What was her question?
value. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I mean, like a big part of that is obviously you want the community to be a part of that and go along with you. Pete Parsons gave like an intro in
Pete Carson.
the session, and he said, you know, this is the most community-driven project Bungie's ever done. Can you clarify what you mean?
The most driven community. Oh, community meaning bringing people in to tell them how to make a game.
by
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. So I think the cycle of like working with different testers and creators, we've invested a lot in sort of constantly iterating our game alongside both creator feedback and also tester feedback as we've gone along.
You mean the process of making a game?
We have a pretty robust like user research thing that's focused a lot more on experiential like iterations than anything else. I think typically when you think about user research, you think like a bunch of like lab rats in the science room, right?
The one-sided glass.
But like it's actually evolved a lot, and our user researchers are very much around understanding and developing a relationship with the testers and understanding really what they're looking for from the experience, what kind of frustrations they're running into, what kind of motivations they're trying to drive inside of it. It's very much a dialogue more than anything else now. Especially as we've been testing with creators, we've actually been opening a lot more dialogue with the different testers that we've had. So we run even internally sort of like monthly discords with like.
Here's the same thing I said for Battlefield, or not Battlefield. Yeah, Battlefield, the next Battlefield 6, whatever it is. Okay. I said bringing the community in, as long as they have the right community, right? At least they know what the extraction is. Battlefield is a problem because they're making Battlefield, they're making an extraction, they're making a battle royale, whatever they're doing. They're doing multiple things. So they're getting feedback from all these other different people, right? Now remember, there's a battle royale / extraction coming in Battlefield. There's an extraction in World of War, Call of Duty, not World of Warcraft. Sorry. Okay. There's an extraction that's already out there with other games, and now this game's coming out at the exact same time as well. It's mind-boggling to me that at least they know that theirs is an extraction, and they're bringing in extraction people that played other extraction games to help them make this a better game. Now you just got to rely on those people that told you what would make them come from that other game to work over on this game.
You know, like a lot of the testers who played before, so that we can actually get continuous feedback and things of that sort. So I'm a big believer in sort of just kind of keeping close to a player, if that makes sense, right? I feel like once you start thinking of players as just like this faceless mass, you're kind of losing the point. If that makes sense. So to me, seeing the product that we're making and the game that we're sort of the game experience we're trying to deliver, and being able to tell us along the way all the things that.
Here's the problem. If you bring the people in that, like I love feedback, right? I have a feedback channel that anytime someone has any sort of feedback, they could either DM me or they can say it in the public thing, right? If they don't like something I'm doing in channel, because that's what it is, right? You're following the community. But at the same time, if I just want yes men, okay, to say whatever I'm doing is good, then you're not really building anything that's substance. You're building the thing for this bubble that you're building. And as long as that bubble's big enough for you, then you'll be fine. But if you're specifically making this game for the people that you brought in that are telling you that, oh, this is good, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, instead of just making a game and selling the game with your vision and stuff in mind, it could go down a wrong path.
Are resonating, us doing the work to analyze it and sort of get to the point of like, where are the common trends? What do people really care about and not care about is worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In connection to that, obviously, you know, Bungie spent the last sort of 10 years building a very vibrant community that's, you know, focused on a PvE game. And this is obviously very different. What are the things about Marathon that you think will really appeal to a Destiny player, or if any? You know,
I think you're pitching directly to one.
Yeah, exactly right.
Well,
sell me. You know?
It's really interesting. I do think that like, so there's a couple things that I think on the baseline appeal from Destiny's side. Like I'll be honest. One is probably just the gunplay. Like
For sure.
Bungie's very much like got a long-term legacy of sort of building.
Yeah, but if you're a PvE guy, the gunplay is not bringing you in. The gunplay is gunplay, which is great. But if you're a PvE guy, you're not coming over.
This very action, kind of good feel touch, both works on controller, mouse, and keyboard kind of gameplay that works for FPSs, right? And I think as we were building it, we were really trying to like make sure that that part was incorporated well, even as we tuned it to make sure it kind of fit a variety of scenarios inside of our game. So that's number one. Number two, I think, I think Destiny players do enjoy a good sort of puzzle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, they like puzzle because it moves the story along. If the story's like what Concord was going to do, where it's like every 2 weeks you're going to add some sort of thing, right? Or am I a person that I get in the game, I got to go to this certain building to get this certain note, and I never get to that because I die before I get there and I forget to go there or I never find it. I'm missing that piece. And then maybe that community starts to talk. Maybe Sarge starts telling me, like, oh, did you see this piece? I'm like, no, what is it? And then we start talking. But I don't know if that's going to keep someone that's a PvE guy in the game long enough.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
And I think sometimes we invest in sort of some of those puzzles appearing in the way that we sort of deliver content in the game. I will say, though, that our game is unique, I think, from Destiny in the sense of there's no way to opt out of PvP. So if you're not
that would be different.
Comfortable with PvP at all, it might be something that's hard for you to overcome.
No, that is a major hurdle to overcome. If you don't like PvP, you are done. This is why in the very beginning I said that this particular game is a very niche, right? It's not PvP. This is extraction PvP. This is a much more niche community.
And that's okay. But if you are comfortable with PvP and see it as another source of like interesting tension and pressure inside of the game, and you play Destiny, then this might be the game for you to like sort of make that jump. So yeah.
And just to finish up, obviously you would have done dozens of play tests,
Yeah.
including one just these past 2 days. What have you seen that's like really jumped out at you and surprised you about the kind of responses you're getting from people as they're playing through what you've made?
I think so much of it is them discovering, everyone discovering their own angle of what they love inside of the thing. Like I will say the thing that really energizes me, if you want to know, whenever I go into these things, is like going in there and playing with everybody and just hearing all the crazy chatter that comes from it, right? Like it's just,
You mean the chatter that's not going to come from the actual game itself because there's no proximity chat?
It was a lot. We were there. There's a lot of
it's like,
there's some phrases that are already going around.
Organically come up when you play. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
but it's like nothing is worse in a testing room than a quiet room.
Yes, that's true.
Like the best thing in a room is when you just hear a lot of shouting, a lot of.
Do you hear what he's saying right now? That's exactly why people liked arcades back in the day. That's why people like playing online, because of the banter, right? This is the same thing I talk about when you go to a movie theater. You have that energy of other people watching the same movie as you, right? You might not like the people or whatever, but when you go to a theater, you have that energy. When you're playing a game and there's people over your shoulder at an arcade, if you guys don't know what an arcade is, big cabinets and you're playing game, and there was people watching you play, that's like Twitch before Twitch and YouTube existed, right? Just a small group of people watching people play and having their quarters on the thing. There's that excitement that's happening inside. Okay, when you're playing NFL Blitz, you're playing NBA Jam, or you're playing whatever, a fighting game, Street Fighter, or whatever it was, okay, there's that moment of social interaction. The way that they're describing right there is a social interaction that they brought a whole bunch of people into some one room, and they're all yelling at each other, you bastard, you killed me, I got you. That's that moment, which is now being taken away in their own game because there's no proximity chat, because they have to save people from being called a bad name or whatnot.
Like just random, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, or whatever the case is, right? With just those moments, just it's exciting because people are feeling things. They're feeling things and they're sort of reacting to things, and they're caring about stuff that's occurring inside of the game, and that is amazing. That is an amazing feeling because you spend a lot of time crafting experiences and especially
those of you that are parents and your kid plays in another room. You ever notice the difference when your child is playing a game? Let's say that whatever game it is, right? My son plays Fortnite. When he plays Fortnite by himself, he's quiet in the living room. Okay, he's quiet in the living room. But if I come and sit and watch him play Fortnite, all of a sudden he's much more animated. He's much more talkative. Dad, did you see this? Did you see that? Right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because they know there's someone watching them, they get more excited. You see what I'm saying?
Especially with PvP experiences, they tend to be more open. So you hope that they discover the moments where all those things converge and happen. And when you see it happening a lot, then you get super excited. So, I mean, that is the fuel that's sort of firing me right now. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, we really appreciate being out here and getting the chance to play it, and really appreciate your time. Obviously, it's been a huge 2 days for you, and you must be exhausted. And this is at 5 o'clock, the last interview of the day, so we appreciate it a lot. And yeah, genuinely
Appreciate
wish
it as
you
well.
all the best.
Yeah,
and
good luck
look
on
forward
launch.
to checking in the future.
Oh, thanks so much.
Yeah, good luck on launch. Look, I do think the description's down below for Scalp's video as well. I do believe that this game is going to do fine when it comes out. I don't think we're going to have a Concord situation again. Okay, I do believe that there's going to be some sort of player base and promotional, and people are going to get on board and play it. Now, 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, is it going to drop off? Yes, of course. Okay, if they come out, let's just say they have Helldiver numbers, right? And Helldiver numbers, if I bring that back up, let's say this comes out on Steam and it has the number of like Delta Force, 131,000, or Helldivers, 400 or 300,000, right? It's pulling in those numbers. Fantastic, right? Fantastic. It'll drop down. Look, Helldivers is down from 458,000 to 46,000 to 31,000, whatever it is. This is going to happen. This happens with all the games, right? That's not what I'm talking about if it's successful or not. Okay, I think they're going to have a big kickoff, right? I think people are going to play it. They're going to like it. Okay, they're going to adjust. It's Bungie, okay? But at the same time, I don't know, man. Because they made a game that is an extraction and it is a niche community, it's going to be hard to decide. Now, maybe they don't need 2 million people to play the game, because in this market, you only need a couple 100,000 people and you could be very successful, right? Tarkov right now, I'm going to refresh. Okay, Tarkov right now, as it refreshes, has 99,000, right? So if it has 100,000 people, okay, like Tarkov does, then they're successful, right? It doesn't matter if you compare to other games if the numbers. It's about that pool of people that you're pulling from. Are people that are not extraction players right now going to come in to play Bungie extraction game? And are people that are playing extraction games right now going to leave their extraction game to go play Bungie's extraction game? That is the pool you're working with. You're not making a new pool. Okay, you're not all of a sudden, there's not going to be hundreds of millions of people that are going to go, oh, extraction, and then move over to Destiny, or I'm sorry, move over to Bungie's marathon extraction game because it's Bungie, right? You'll have people that test it out, but there's that price point again. If it's $40 or $50, people look at it and go, am I going to pay this, or am I going to save my money and get Grand Theft Auto 6 if it comes out? Am I going to play this, or am I going to play Borderlands 4 because I know what Borderlands is and it's more Borderlands, right? There's a lot of what-if moment for this game, and I hope it works out for them. I hope they have some other hit other than Destiny, right? They lost Halo, right? They almost lost Destiny to Activision, right? They took it back from them, and now Sony owns it, okay? So now they have this other IP that they can actually do something with. We'll see. Yeah, they're doing stuff with no PSN account type of stuff. I hope the game's good. I'm not trying to shit on the game in any way, shape, or form, but I'll tell you what, after that interview, I'm sold less. When we watched the other thing, Azzacross, I was like, all right, man, this is interesting. I'm not interested, but it seems more interesting. But then another director talked, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Roadkill says, yeah, the Tarkov is more realism, right? It looks like it's some the Fruit Loop shit. Yeah. Sony learned their lesson, and at least that's the game. Maybe. Who knows? Roadkill says, no, I'm just kidding. I just wish they had a marathon single-player badass game. I just don't understand, and I know it's not really a big deal for a lot of people because a lot of people didn't play Marathon. I'm not a huge Marathon like fan, but Marathon is a single-player game with like story. And all of a sudden you're using that Marathon name. Why? Because you're looking, because the people that grew up, that played that game, and then grew up and then started playing Halo, and then started playing Destiny, you're trying to get that crowd, because that crowd, the older group of people, is playing extraction shooters, so you're trying to get that market, right? This is like Star Wars bringing back the Luke, Han, and Leia, and then not using them properly. They're bringing back Marathon, but they're not using it properly. I don't know. So what do you guys think? Are you more sold or not sold? Right? I want to know. I want to know something. I'm gonna do a poll. Let's do one poll before we leave here. Let's do. That's not it. That's the wrong one. Let's do a poll. Is it? Okay. What are you more interested in? Okay, what are you more interested in? Borderlands 4, Marathon, or none? Okay. Are you going to pay to play Borderlands 4? Are you going to play or pay for Marathon, or are none of these things interested you and you're not going to get either of those two on September 23rd and you're going to spend your money elsewhere? Okay. Let me see what you guys are voting for. I'll wait and see, but it's more than $40. There's no shot I'm buying. I already know I'm not buying. I'm not in any way, shape, or form, but I know they're not making the game for me. Okay? I have no interest in an extraction shooter. None. If it was free to play, 100% I'd give it a shot. Okay? But because it's a paid game, no shot I'm playing. I have no interest in it. House says, I need to see more. I'm definitely going to play the alpha and beta if possible. First 48 says, I'll be playing on Switch too. Didn't care about these games. Are they coming out together? They're coming out on the exact same day, Sarge. The exact same day. September 23rd. Ron says, I'm spending my money elsewhere. Jason says, neither for me. Argus says, paid game with as many microtransactions as a free-to-play, if not more. Bishop Void says, I'll be buying a new blow-up doll September 23rd. So that's money spent elsewhere. Robert Jones says, still interested, but not enough to pre-order or play test. What if someone gifts it to you, Mike? Don't waste your money. Don't waste your money, House. If you want to waste your money, if you want to waste $40, I would rather you spend it on gifted memberships. Honest to God. I will not enjoy that game. I will not it will not be in the rotation. Borderlands 4 is going to have a campaign, right? We hope. We hope. Kuda Papa says, no thanks. Extraction shooters are shit genre. Ron Slusher says, what if GTA 6 decides to come out September 23rd? Well, we don't know. We do know it's on the exact same day as Borderlands 4. So if in the poll, if it comes out, the non-one would be Grand Theft Auto, right? Would be like if something else is coming out during that time frame, you're not getting either of these two games, you're getting another game. Z says, if the choice of Borderlands 4 PvP too twitchy for my old man stress levels. Yeah, I'm not buying it 100%. No go for me. Yeah, just a lot. Look, again, let me bring up this this chart again, right? This is all the extraction shooters, okay? These are all the extraction shooters that are happening right now, okay? Delta Force, Helldivers, Hunt Showdown, Tarkov's not on this list, Dark and Darker, Gray Zone, Warzone, Lost Light, Steel Hunters, right? Then you have all these other ones that no one's ever heard of, right? Look at it. I think it'll be up here, right? It'll be in the top 5, top 6, whatever it is. But is it going to pull enough to get people in? And that's before we start seeing cheaters. That's before we start seeing people complaining about crossplay. That's before we start seeing about what the actual game is, and the microtransactions and all this other stuff. Jones says $40 is a nice bottle of bourbon. Don't waste your money on that either. Well, at least if you're going to buy me one, don't buy me. I like bourbon, but I would use that more than I would use an actual game itself. Argus says, shit would have to be free to play for me to even consider trying it. I'll ever stick to that playing it. World says, isn't GTA and Borderlands the same company? No way they released them on the same day. I mean, they could. They could. But no, they're not going to. They're not going to. There's no way. I've only heard of Steel Hunters and Tarkov. Ron Slusher says the season reset is what turned me off. Yeah, that to me, Ron, this is also coming from people that played Destiny, right? And Destiny nobody wanted to get rid of their guns. Nobody wanted to get rid of their guns. And now you're asking that, if they are Destiny fans, you're asking that population to get resetted every 12 weeks? Yeah, it's crazy. What time is it? 1:16? Holy Christ, we went over. We went way over. It's because I like you, chat. It's because I like you. Only 16 votes. Everyone else is like sleeping. So we got... what is that? We got a 56% said Borderlands 4. 25% said none, and 18% said Marathon. Quintar says item durability is trashy. First 48 says, why was there a cat in the trailer? I didn't see any in the gameplay. It's probably just one of those the environmental animals that are in the world or something. World says Destiny fans will be playing Borderlands. Yeah, because a lot of people want to play the PvE type of stuff. Argus says Tarkov, Helldivers, and Hunt Showdown are the only 3 I know. 4 if you also still count Warzone DMZ. Right, and Helldivers is a PvE extraction. Right? That's a PvE extraction. What is Tarkov's... let's see. Active players. Escape from Tarkov 30... Peak players is 3,614 in the last 30 days. What is that from? That can't be. Online players 1 hour ago is 900,000. I just don't understand how this whole chart works. As far as... Let me bring it up again. Oh, it's already up. The last 30 days in March, they had average daily players 500,000, right? They've been doing 500,000 for about a year now. It went up a little bit in December, January, and it's pretty much been consistently there. That's 500,000 people, right? If you go back to over here to the Steam charts over here, and we click on one of these guys, the peak all time is 131. The peak over here is almost 500,000. So Tarkov is like, that's it, man. That's the market you're going for, and you're going to try to bring those people in. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Kuda Papa, thank you very much for the $2 super chat. Says Night Rain is going to do better than Marathon. I don't know what Night Rain is. Oh, Elden Ring. Elden Ring. That's the Elden Ring. That's right. They have another one coming out. Let's see. Robert Jones says Warzone DMZ is going to apparently, and don't count Helldivers. Roadkill says, who the fuck did they talk to and said all of these choices were good? Because it seems like they made every wrong choice. We'll see. We'll see. Quintar says it's all the Wigglers. Yeah, all the Wigglers. They just love their Tarkov game. They love their Tarkov game. Yeah. Be careful with the spelling. Be careful with the spelling. Argus says PvE Extraction is the only one I'm interested in. Halo Studios needs to hurry up and make a Halo ODST version of Helldivers. That would be awesome. That would be awesome if they did that. That would be awesome if they did that. All right, chat. That's going to do it for me today. I do appreciate you all coming in and hanging out with us. If you like it, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you want to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Tonight we're going to be playing... I don't know what we're going to be playing. Right? I don't know if I want to play some more Blueprints or if I want to play some more South of Midnight, or I don't want to play any of those. I don't know. I'll be honest. I got turned off of South of Midnight for the portion I played. I didn't like the combat. I know I can shut the combat off, but I feel like if I shut the combat off, it's like, what's the point of actually playing the game? So Blueprints I like, but it's a slow game. And I know a lot of you guys don't like it, so maybe I'll just play that off stream and then upload it for the rest of the playthrough type of stuff. But yeah, we'll be back tonight over on our other channel, 30 and Still Gaming, playing some video games tonight. So make sure you're not, if you're not subscribed over to that channel, come on over to that channel. That's where we play video games. If not, we'll be back tomorrow day right here on 30NSG for the daily grind. Appreciate it very much. Make sure you check out some of our other videos, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for hanging. Peace.
Sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. We're nitty tuned in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Controller ready, headset too, we've got the updates just for you. From late night streams to morning plays, we cover gaming all the ways. Laughs and news, our winning blend, the show with you, our dearest friend. Comments rolling, chats alive, the daily grind, 5-star vibe. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning fix. Good morning, sunshine, rise and shine. The daily grind is here on time with gaming news and fun galore. We'll chat and entertain once more. The coffee's hot, the mic is on. Jump in the chat, let's have some fun. From pixel small to stories grand, we bring the magic to your hand. Tune in daily, don't you miss entertainment wrapped in bliss. From new releases, tips and tricks, the daily grind, your morning